Hey guys, it's Mecha Monday again, and this time, seeing as I managed to beat BattleTech last week finally, which wasn't too bad, it's about, pardon me there, it's about 45, 50, 55 hours-ish I put into the game before I beat it, which isn't too bad. That's a pretty healthy length for a single-player BattleTech game. What I wanted to do this week was, because I've made in the video so many numerous comments about, well, if this were tabletop, it'd be working this way or that way, I decided let's just go ahead and play a little tabletop. Now, it's going to be a little on the odd side because I'm not actually playing true tabletop. I'm actually going to be using a game, well, not a game, basically a tabletop program called MegaMek. Well, more accurately, what you see on screen here is MekHQ, which is the campaign manager for playing a campaign over MegaMek. And I figured let's just kind of show it off this way. So a little bit kind of a one-off, and this is going to be very odd indeed because I'm actually streaming about a quarter of my screen size right now, and I could potentially have all sorts of windows pop up, like say hello to everyone chat there, which actually works out a little better for me because for once I'll actually have chat on the same screen I'm actually looking at and playing the game on. So hopefully I might even be a little more responsive to questions tonight. So MegaMek, what can I say about this? This is a pretty awesome little program that I ran across about a year or two after I actually stopped running my BattleTech campaign, after I wound up moving out of state and couldn't really play with the folks I was playing with anymore. And then, unfortunately, since then, it's just been impossible to kind of reconnect with them. What it basically does is this lets me kind of actually run a full-on BattleTech campaign. So I have, my various mech warriors in here. I have my techs and everything. This does all of the hard work and the paperwork of actually hanging on and managing the unit behind, the campaign and everything. So all of the maintenance, all the salvage, the record keeping, everything is all sitting in this program. It's a really slick program. I've actually got this in, I've got in GM mode right now because I had to kind of build the unit, from scratch, so to speak. So that's why you see a lot of weird things going on here, like, oh, well, this unit has just been added to the roster and everything, and there's money from a rich uncle that got used to create the starting funds and whatnot. So there's all sorts of neat little things in here, including a complete TO and E, so I can actually go in and do customizations, like if I wanted to take the trebuchet here and let's say I want to... Why are you not letting me move that location? Oh, because it's suited for deployment, so it's not actually going to let me modify it right now. But the really nice thing is, if you've ever run a BattleTech campaign, you know that doing stuff like unit calculations, your quality levels, oh, that is such a pain. This does all of that sort of thing, and in fact, let me see if I can bring it up here to give you an idea of just how complicated this can actually be. Let's see, where do I have my last sheet? Ah, yes, here it is. Call up an Excel spreadsheet here, and to give you an idea of what I used to have to do to track all this sort of stuff, this is what things looked like when I was tracking it manually, and I had a whole spreadsheet set up here that I used to have to actually keep track of. Okay, what's the skill level? What is everyone in for a mech? What is the battle value of everything? Does it count towards, does it count towards clan tech once you get further enough in the BattleTech timeline? Who's a player character, who's not? This is actually the very last sheet that I wound up making for these guys. The contract calculations were ungodly to have to deal with. The kind of supplies you could take on, having to track, okay, I've got all of the medium lasers and everything, all of the all my ACs, my LRMs. This is the kind of stuff that I used to have to go through on a regular basis, and that was not counting the time that you had to actually sit down and bring units in. You pull up the record sheets from the last campaign, and it used to actually be a whole binder worth of them. and make sure I was noting, okay, here's the damage that's there. Here's what I had to wind up doing for repairs, the salvage work. There's a lot of work to keep a campaign running. This makes it so much simpler. But what I'm actually going to do, actually, while I'm here, let me show you something, because I happen to have set the campaign here around 3026. 3026? No, 3028. What am I saying? Which is about where we left off in the BattleTech timeline in the Oregon Reach in the single-player campaign. And you'll note that, yeah, at least according to the official maps, it ain't here. There's a couple of the worlds, like Smithton is over here. We had a campaign on that world, as you may recall. Some of the worlds are indeed here, but not all of them. And I don't believe... Yeah, Cormordeer is not even on here at this point. So these are all kind of oddball worlds, and yeah, they don't really exist as far as the game map is concerned right now. That might change down the road, but where we are starting off our little storyline here is over here. We are going to be right smack dab in the middle of the second wave of the Fourth Succession Wars. This is when Hans Davian has started to launch his forces, continuing the war against the Capellan Confederation in green over here, the Federated Sons being in yellow there. The marriage has taken place a couple months ago, so the Federated Sons and the Lyran Alliance are the Lyran Commonwealth are going to come together to form a super state that will be known as the Federated Commonwealth down the road in a few years once integration takes place. And on the wedding day, Hans Davian declared war on the Capellan Confederation, which is the green guys down here. They are pretty much soundly screwed because they don't know it. They've got a rat inside of their intelligence at this point, a very highly placed rat, which is a lot of what you see going on in the Warrior Trilogy. It's a great novel series to read. There's also the fact that the Capellans, the Free World League, and the Draconis Combine are all they're kind of allied in a don't know what the word you want to call it. It's an alliance of convenience, basically, to try to offset the FedCom super state here. Mark's not going to be able to do much in this war because they're still getting over their civil war, and the Combine is pretty much inept in this time period. You don't see them really become a threat until Theodore Kurita becomes much more of a prominent figure in their universe. But what I'm going to do is I've taken the advantage of the war and kind of threw together a very quick, dirty mission on Tikonov that I'm going to be taking a lance into. So this will be similar to what you do in what you see in the BattleTech PC game series here. And to give you an idea of what I'm bringing along, I have selected some one-offs here this time around. I do have the tried and true trebuchet there. I've brought in a Hunchback 4J, which is actually a variant that mounts two LRM-10s. I have the AC-20 wielding Centurion. No laser weapons there, so you run out of ammo on that sucker, you are a melee monster. And the version of the Jenner that actually drops the SRM launcher and goes for extra armor. And all of that coming down in a traditional Leopard dropship. Now, keeping in mind the last time I actually used this program was probably about 2 years ago. They are continually putting out tweaks and updates to it, and it has changed significantly since I last played it. We're going to see if we can actually get a mission off the ground here. So I have set myself basically, we're attached to the 7th Crucis Lancers. They are assaulting a fortified coastal city right now, and we're accompanying their wave of tanks. They're going in on the through the sea entrance because combat engineers have managed to disable the defenses on two of the turret towers around this massive walled city that are facing the port. So we're going to go in and we're going to give them some, basically some support. Now, can I actually get this to work? Is going to be the big question. All right, so we're going to connect to the game. You guys are, okay, you are seeing that locally. I want to make sure I've got everything up on the monitor. And that would be MegaMek chiming away in the background there. It's not going to have a great deal of entertaining sounds on it. I will apologize for that, but that's just kind of the way the setup works. So you can see it's already preloaded all of my units from the campaign in here. And what I'm actually going to do is take my second... I have a pre-opened copy of MegaMek over here. This is what the launch screen normally looks like, except you can't really see the whole thing because it doesn't even fit at this level, but I'm going to tell it to connect to a game. I am running a local game here. I'm connecting as the Capellan Confederation. And you're going to try to immediately full screen that, which I don't want. So, there we go. Alright, so now I am on the Capellan side there. I'm going to go ahead and adopt... Well, that says it's yellow. I don't really consider that yellow. There's lots of little stuff that you can do with this. And they keep... Again, this is a game that they keep... not a game, a utility that they keep tweaking, really. And there we are, because they don't have them listed under. I believe it was the Capellan Hussars. So you can. I actually gave you some of the little bit of camo work that they do for some of these units. And I want to go back to. Yeah, this is not going to be confusing at all. I gotta. Where is that window? Go full screen if I do that. That's interesting. Anyways, let's do our unit setup off of the mercenaries here. I'm going to go through and select a map. And I'm going to go for a rather small map, actually. Yeah, small map, because I want you guys to be able to kind of see what's going on here. And what you can see is they've included all of the various map sets that they've published over the years, and not only that, but kind of some unofficial ones. And you know, if you want to have buildings but not have to deal with basement rules, he's got custom maps for that. There's maps from some of the scenarios that they've published over the years. There's some unofficial fan-created ones, a lot of Carnage Incorporated ones that are out there. Lots and lots and lots and lots of different custom maps or stuff. And don't worry, they're not going to be completely that simple. What I'm going to do is, that's actually more or less the one I want. Bases. The seaport with fuel tanks. Yeah, actually, no, I want basements on this. I want to really... There's a reason why you do not fight in cities, and basements are one of them, because those are absolutely nightmarish at times. I'm going to say, let's go for oh, please stop doing that. It's not going to stop doing it. It's going to keep making that noise. That is the one thing I would actually criticize about the game. That's kind of a preview of the board. I could actually rotate it around too, but I'm okay with that direction. We are going to have planetary conditions. I don't really care to change any of that. I could make it rainier and whatnot, but I'm not actually using the rules for that. I'm actually running this under... Technically, it's under the Total Warfare rule set, but really I'm more familiar with the BattleTech Master Rules 4th Edition Revised. That's how long it's been since I've actively run a campaign. The Thug Brigade is going to change its start, and we're going to be approaching from the west, so we're coming in under the water, basically. The Capellans, when I drag them up here, they're going to be starting from the east inside the city proper. And the other thing I need to do is I need to give these guys... I need to pull up some units to add to the Capellans here. So, let's go ahead. Could mute the game at the OS. Yeah, I could actually. Yeah, let's... hang on. There we go. I cannot only mute it at the OS level, I can mute it at the OBS level. That'll be better. Oh, yes, spread. And now I'm seeing chat because I had it covered up. Yeah, spreadsheets. That was the better part of about 2 years going into developing that spreadsheet. And then MegaMek came along and it's like, I don't really... Or MekHQ came along and it's like, I don't really need that anymore. Let's add some use for the Capellan just to show you guys what I can do. And something that you can do really nice here is you can create a random army. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to use the introductory box set. Actually, no, Total War box set. That's a little closer. We're going to go 4 mechs. We're going to limit the year to 3026. And let's just see what we can come up with. Actually, No, this is not going to be random like I need it to. Here we go. Let's use the rat. There are lots and lots of random tables in all the various source books that can determine what forces you should be deploying. Yeah, this has got them all covered, so it would be very easy for me to... You can see a lot of the support came in the later years for BattleTech history. The early years, not so much. Let's see what we can do here. Or I can go for the rat generator. This might actually be a bit better. Let's go for 328. There's all sorts of different ways that they give you options to select stuff with. And this one I like a little better because you can actually go in and pick the faction you're working with. 4 mechs, we'll give them a C rating. Late class will make them all mediums. I'm sporting a full medium lance except for one. And let's see. You're gonna get me. Generate. So this is telling me the range of mechs that I've got. And what do we want to bring along? I like the Whitworth. So we're gonna add the Whitworth to our force. Here's the great thing is now I can add all sorts of weird stuff like quad mechs. Scorpion, bring that along. I think you guys will have some amusing fun seeing that on the field. Bring in a dervish just because I can. And bring the Clint 3T. This one should be relatively quick to take down. I'm not going to bring the assassin in. And random skill selection gives me the option for picking my skills, so yeah, I think we're pretty good with that. We could go with Total Warfare. Then you start really getting to weird stuff when you start doing that, so we'll just do that. So you can see that I have now added those units to the team. They are generating 4 5s. I'm a little better in gunnery on two of my guys to compensate for the fact I'm toting around a Jenner. As you can see, it's even applied the camo a little bit to those guys. So that's kind of what we've got. There's a whole ton of other game options that I'm not even going into here because when they made this software, they made it that it really can accommodate a lot of things like you've got the max tech rules that you can apply, so you can get into experimental technology in the different eras, various sorts of house rules that people have done over the years. I can skip ineligible during movement and ineligible during firing. I like to actually skip ineligible during firing because it's useless if they can't fire. We got a paranoid autosave, so if I'm worried about the game crashing constantly. There's double blind deployment zones, so where I deploy is not going to be where he deploys. Or where the other enemy can actually see where I'm deploying. And stuff like smoke drift, the extensive commands to non-observers. I do believe it does support observers. I haven't played around with it yet. There's blind drop rules that you can apply, the victory conditions and everything, so they actually can... you can kind of say, okay, if I want to... I have to destroy only 90% of the BV to have a victory. You can do all that sort of thing, so it really allows for some nice... sensitive sorts of scenario making off of this. Advanced rules, minefields. You've got double blind. Oh, double blind is a pain to pull off in tabletop, and that's the great thing about this is it makes it so much easier to do double blind. So double blind is essentially what you see when you're playing BattleTech normally on the PC game. On tabletop, obviously, when you're playing normally, you can see where the other people are because it's just assumed magically you're on the field and everyone's got sensors on everything. Yeah, it's a little weird when you start talking about ECM and whatnot, though. But all sorts of different rules they've got in here. Advanced combats, like Tac Ops engine explosions. If you've heard me talk about the stack pull rule, that would be it. That's one where you roll a 12 on a center torso critical hit, and you've blown the engine more than likely. Or you roll, you get 2 or 3 hits, one of the two. You get enough hits on the engine, crit hits on the engine during the turn, and it will blow. Lots of fun stuff with that. Through armor, criticals will float. So this says if you shoot through an arm, that the damage to the arm should go to a random spot, basically. You know, re-roll your hit, essentially. That makes things pretty interesting, but then it kind of degrades the whole idea of damage transfer. this is all the stuff that's in TAC Ops. Then you've got all the unofficial rules that are in here. So you've got that. You've got, if you're doing RPG integration, which I'm doing because I have the characters here and everything, you've got the MechWarrior 3 Edge system that's available. And you can decide, okay, are certain skills going to count towards a bonus in your tabletop experience? Different ways that you can run initiative, the different ways that you can handle aerospace, which I didn't even want to deal with that because that's a whole area of the campaigning I've actually not really messed around with much. Aerospace is a little on the tricky side to deal with. Just gobs and gobs of customizations that they've built into this thing. So lots of different things that are going on there. You can see it's even telling me that the Capellans have just changed the skip ineligible during firing to true. So you can kind of all agree on, what kind of rules you want to set up and everything. So, what do you guys think that I should actually get things going here? I'm going to drag the Capellans off the screen. And it could get a little messy because there are some pop-up windows that do display. I'm going to say I'm done on both sides. I'm not going to show you the Capellans and what they're doing, so that way you get a kind of a better idea of what this is going to look like from the single-player person's perspective. You can tell it's already determined what my initiative is going to be, so it looks like I'm going to have to move first, then the Capellans. I'll move the Capellans until we're done moving. We have calculated wind, but it really shouldn't do anything for us, and really I should be able to honestly trash the Capellans here. The BV is a total mismatch. This is not exactly what I would normally do for a standard campaign setup. Let's say we're done, and you can see it has opened up a whole world of stuff on the screen here. And that's because it's waiting for me to place first. Okay, yeah, guys, it's not gonna be extra special for graphics on this thing. But you have to consider this is taking the place of a tabletop simulation, so I can deploy off the first three rows. I can go for the trebuchet. Maybe I want to get the Jenner down first, actually. And you can see that it is automatically placed the Jenner right here. And I don't know if you guys can actually see it on YouTube or not, but there is a little icon there for it. And let me see if I can actually... Yes, I can zoom in. Beautiful. I'll zoom in so you can see this a little better because I know there's going to be details getting lost on YouTube here. Looks like that's as far as I can go in. Yep, okay. So BattleTech, if you're not familiar with the tabletop campaign, it uses hex-based maps. You've got depths to them, you've got heights to them for buildings. You can see I can hover over here. The buildings have a construction factor that determines how easily they'll be destroyed. The water has a depth to it that determines if you're going to have problems firing in and out of it. If certain areas are going to not be easier to hit as a result. Let's see, next one, two, yeah, deploy there. So I got the Jenner in the center, and now I can pull this one over here because that's the Whitworth, and he's on the other side. It's not exactly an ideal system to try to dual box, but you can do it. Boy, there. So you can see the Whitworth just popped up on the screen there, and now I've got an option to find an area to put the trench bucket here. Stick him over there. And the Capellans are up. What do I want to do? That's the Scorpion. Yeah, let's deploy that there. Drop the Scorpion in. We've got the Hunchback. The Hunchback is gonna go there. Potentially take a rather risky move. Turn you that direction. So the Dervishes popped up, coming down a slightly different angle there, and Centurion is the last one to go. We're going to counter his move. Turn him that way. Which leaves me with the last unit to deploy on my side, which will be the Clint. He is going to Start off on top of building. There. And you'll see where that is in a moment. So it's saying our deployment's done, and we're going to be on to our movement phase here. So I'm going to be determining where I'm going to be moving, and it looks like it's actually the Capellan's turn to kick off the festivities first here. So we're going to see a bit of movement, then you'll see what I'm actually capable of doing. I'm going to pick a different unit, though. Okay, so you see the Scorpion over here. He is actually going to take a little bit of an advantage of the way he can move. Can I do... Where's your ability? It's been so long since I've actually used a, used that. Technically, the Scorpions, they can actually... It's a quad mech, so they actually let you kind of crab walk, basically, to the next few hexes, but he's basically turned and moved further up, so that way he's got a bit better position. I'm going to bring the trench bucket out of the water and over in that direction. Very deep water, so I can't move him very quickly. Basically, it's 1 movement point to go up a level, 2 movement points to go up 2 levels, 1 to get out of water. Then every hex face you turn is another movement point, and there is a difference between walking and running, similar to how you walk or sprint in BattleTech, except I can actually still fire while I'm running. I could jump too if you've got jump jets. It's very similar to how the PC game works in that ways. Now we're back on the Capellan turn. Whitworth is not exactly a good position. Spring. I'm going to take a little bit of a risky move with the... Bring it over here. Take a little bit of a risky move with the Dervish here. Because I can see I have 1 hex to move forward, 2, 3, 4 to turn, 5 to get into this hex, and it's doing these little parentheses here because those are going to require a piloting skill roll because I'm trying to run on pavement, which is never really a good thing in a 50-ton mech. So I'm actually going to keep this on screen while I move them in case I blow the roll. So you can see it's prompting me that I need some rolls to keep the mech upright as I do this. You won't see this in BattleTech. No, roads just help you run faster at all in the PC game, which is kind of a little annoying. And you can see, yep, that did not work out very well for him. So he failed a piloting skill check and skidded into that hex here. He's not particularly happy right now. We're going to see the effects of that when we get to the end of this phase. It'll tell you everything that happened, which is really nice. Especially for record keeping, if you're looking to build up a little bit of a narrative around what's going on. It comes in very handy. Hunchback cannot actually get out of the water there. He needs 8 movement points to pull it off, so... Kind of wish I'd gotten a jump-capable hunch there. So let's just turn him and get him... He might be able to fire on him. It's not likely line of sight, but we'll try. Whitworth is just going to go flat out the road. And the Centurion getting out of the water, so he's gonna have the same sort of risk for piloting because he's now trying to move on pavement there. Looks like he actually made it though, which is even better. I've got 1 less unit to move. What's the deal with that structure here? I see on this map what that is. Nope, you're not going to show me, are you? Okay, I see how it is, game. Can I... Yeah, 40. It is a 40-ton mech, so theoretically he should be able to do this. Building shouldn't collapse under him. Does give me some options for potentially shooting him down. He's standing on a building that can barely support his weight right now, actually. He's a 40-ton mech. So we've got our Jenner, who can actually not get up into that area either. So I really did a bad pick on movement. Just gonna get him moved and turned. Alright, so let's kind of take a look at what happened, because this is the stuff that goes on behind the scenes in the PC game itself. So there's a lot of dice rolls going on. So the Dervish, this is the Capellan side. You can see he needed a 5 to stay up and running on a 2d6. He rolled a 3. That's never a good day, so he's taken some damage. He basically skidded, hit the building, and took some damage to his left torso, left leg. You can see the armor values in tabletop are much less than what you're used to in the PC game. So it tends to even out a little bit because they deal a lot more weapon damage in game 2. Pilot did not succeed in avoiding damage, so he's taken a hit, but hey, the good news is he's still conscious. The building took damage from an inadvertent ram, so there's still a little bit of the building left, but he did take damage to his mech from slamming into the building. So he's having a bad start to his day. Meanwhile, the units that needed to do pilot skill checks on my side, he needed a 4, he rolled a 10, he's up, and the Jenner also is perfectly fine. It's doing pretty good. The music probably is cutting out a little bit there, because I have to actually tweak my sound settings a little bit here. There we go. That should be, hopefully, a little better. That would be OBS cutting off some of the music there. You guys will have to let me know if that is working any better. To note that setting for next time. Alright, so we are on to the weapons fire phase. So you do your movement first, you declare your weapons fire. Weapons fire is simultaneous in the game, and actually this is something neat that they've added since. Let me bring the Capellans back over here. What they've done is they've added range brackets to MegaMek, so you can kind of actually see where everything is from a standpoint of being able to shoot. There are units that are completely concealed by water, so I can't hit them. There's one that's out of the water. You can see that's right in my medium range bracket. So what I'm going to do is pull this back over. Pay no attention to the screen behind the curtain. If I could figure out a better way to do this, I would actually present both windows side by side, but it'd be a little confusing. I only have one valid target, so let me deal with lighting my fire there first. And yeah, that's looking pretty good. Alright, so see that on the screen. Oh. How about now? There we go. So the Whitworth over here is declared it's going to be firing on the Trebuchet. Not a great thing for the Trebuchet because that's 2 LRM-20s and 3 medium lasers that the Whitworth has. It's kind of like a mini catapult almost. It's a really decent mech for something armed with LRM-10s. Well, downside is you can see this guy's within minimum range of my LRM launchers at this point, so this is not going to be an easy shot. But it's doing all of the calculation for me, and this is something a lot of players get turned off with on the tabletop game, is trying to remember all the modifiers, which frankly at this point, you know, short range, medium range, long range affects your odds of being able to fire. The nice thing about playing MegaMek is it'll actually show you what all the modifiers are. So you can see firing the LRM-15's already got a penalty for 1 at minimum range. The attacker's done a little bit of movement, so he gets a modifier there. That's similar to the evasive modifier on the PC game. Target moved a certain number of hexes, that also factors into... what am I saying? I'm getting this backwards. The attacker walked doesn't seem to be really calculated into the PC game. But the target's movement definitely counts. This is your evasive, effectively. And there's a bit of light woods in the way, so you would see a bit of modifier from something like that, even though there's not really... It doesn't really feel like woods are really in BattleTech. They are, but it doesn't really feel like it often. So that's kind of like your cover bonus, essentially, on the PC game. So we're going to declare both LRM-15s. The medium laser aren't very good on it, and you can see why, because he is at medium range plus his movement. The woods that are in the way might still be worth it if I don't want to build up too much heat. You'll see down here it's also keeping track of the heat per weapon, so I've got 5. I want to fire that. That will get me 10. Oh, actually, let me show you some of the other stuff I can look at here. I can look at the pilot who is in the mech if I want to. I can look at the armor stats, so front armor, internal, rear, and the heat level of the mech so far. You can see 22 points. If this were the PC game shooting on this thing, this would basically be a single AC5 could core this mech, just about. If you're looking for where all of your equipment is distributed, and this you'll recognize from the PC game very much, because that's what it is, essentially. Everything you've seen in the mech lab on the PC game, guess what? You know how to build it, you know how to put together and read a mech chart for where all your equipment is. Hey, Jared. I got some extras in here, which I've never actually... That's interesting. I think some of this is Total Warfare setups. In some cases, there are actually times where you don't want to actually have all of your heat sinks on, so you're kind of wondering what that is. But let's go back to weapons and fire. There's no benefit to firing an arm weapon. There's no bonus for that here, so that's not going to actually factor into anything. Make sure I'm not... Could shoot long range down at the Clint. And actually, you can see it's even showing me the odds here. So I've got a +4 to hit versus a +4 to hit. And if I want to do a secondary shot, I don't need anything special for that. I can actually just target. Well, you know what? Let's do something fun. I'm gonna target one LRM. Yeah, one LRM. We're gonna target the building that he's in. So my goal there is to actually cause the building to collapse. So that's going to be my first target. My secondary target, let's... I get a fire. Why are you not giving me the option for fire? Probably because I can't see it. Yep, it's not going to let me see it. Okay. That's kind of what I figured. That was a nice idea. We're going to lob 2 LRM-15s his way. Now I'm going to split my fire and throw the medium lasers. Even less likely to hit shot because now I'm firing at another target, which is a higher difficulty. So we'll split fire on that for all those medium lasers. And you're going after the Clint. I don't know why you didn't flare fire on that. Fine. Alright, I have a Scorpion here who cannot fire at anything, so he's going to stay nice and cool. Back over here to the Hunchback. The Hunchback doesn't have anything he can fire at as well, so he's not doing anything. Slow start to this one, it looks like. The Dervish that's in the building is the next up. He can't really do anything at this point aside from make his life even harder. He's lucky that that wasn't a basement there that he skidded into, and probably can't actually see that, yeah. Could AC-20 through... Nah, CF-40, I couldn't do it. What I can do is I can torso twist. You can't do this in BattleTech PC game, which is really freaking annoying. So you can see that just changed all of my firing arcs by torso twisting. And I can now target that if I want to. There's an impossible shot with the AC-20, not a surprise, it's long range. Also not in... Yeah, he also ran, I ran, and he jumped, so there's no way that's going to hit, but a 41.6% chance to hit, and these are legit stats to hit. This is not an XCOM percentage here. This is the actual chance to roll an 8 on a 2d6, which is so refreshing. Let's also fire on him, and we'll say we're done with that. The Clint is really cursing his decision to jump that far ahead now. He's got about an even shot on both sides. He's going to throw it on a trebuchet, though. Did that, and range. Okay. And that leaves me my turn. Lasers, I can't really hit anything. Actually, though. Target building. Nope. Terrain blockage. Okay. This is the other nice thing. It does calculate its line of sight for various things, and the nice thing about that is you don't have all of the arguments that you typically do with tabletop. Well, wait a minute, I can see such and such there. Why can't I see anything else there? What do you mean I line of sight is blocked? That should be right. That should be perfectly fine. And especially when you get into the miniatures, and then you start breaking out the laser pointers, which are probably the worst thing ever to be invented as far as being a BattleTech gamer is concerned at times. My turn to fire is done, so I can't shoot anything. Alright, so there we go. That's our summary of what happened with the weapons fire here. So the Trebuchet threw a medium laser at the Whitworth threw a medium laser at the Trebuchet. Scored some damage to the center torso, plenty of armor left. The Trebuchet returned fire on the Clint. Nearly stripped all the armor off the leg. Did a little bit of extra on the other leg. It's pretty darn good. And the medium laser on... Yep, those all missed for the Trebuchet. Not a surprise. The LRM-15, that was some bad whiffage there. Rolled a 2 on that. The Centurion fired on the Clint and missed his shot, and the Clint missed his shot with the AC-5. Now, if we were close enough, we'd have some physical attack phases to deal with here, but the only thing that really I could do is punch a building, and I don't want to do that in the case of the Clint here, because having a building fall on you is not very conducive to one's health. So the game is just being a little extra cautious in case, for instance, say one of the objectives was for me to, you know, do a Scorched Earth campaign, and I've not used any physical attacks. You know, it could be a valid thing that the defending army wants to destroy as many buildings as possible on their way out. So we get through all that. There's no physical attacks. We've got to the heat phase. So this is where we see what happens when you fire off, when you alpha strike on the Trebuchet. You're at 10 heat automatically. Everyone else is doing pretty darn good for heat. So now we are up to the next initiative phase. So it looks like the Thug Brigade is going to be able to go first. The Capellans have won the initiative on that, so they're moving last. So basically, they get to react to everything I'm doing for movement. Whereas if you're playing this in the BattleTech game, each individual unit has initiative. And I could even go to that point of enabling that rule if I wanted to. It makes a... reason why you don't see in tabletop that often is it makes, on really large-scale campaigns, it makes things really run slowly. It takes forever to do this in full-on tabletop. But good news is I can always at least choose which unit goes first. So that's a difference between BattleTech PC versus BattleTech Tabletop, is I can pick which one I want to go first. So if I've got a unit like this that may be prone, down, and injured, I can say, yeah, I'm gonna have that guy do his move first. He's not gonna do anything, but he's gonna be considered moved. In this case, I'm gonna try to see if I can actually circle around here. I should be able to make that piloting skill check because it's early on in the movement. We'll see, yeah, 4 minus 1, so he only needs a 3 to pull it off. That's pretty likely to happen. Possibly a bit of a mistake, though, because now the Dervish can get up. And I think I'm going to walk him through the building here. Uh-oh. So the game will interrupt things if something unusual happened, and in this case, Mr. Dervish managed to get up, but the problem is the building he was in has collapsed. So the Dervish took more damage from the building collapsing, and then to boot, there was a double basement in that building, which is one of the worst things you can have happen when you're fighting in the city. Which, again, I'm violating Ares Conventions, technically. Well, you are, but you aren't. It's kind of a weird thing. So double basement, he falls 2 levels, which is never good, because that's 18 points of damage. So 5 points of damage to his right torso. They split up into 5 block chunks, basically. So yeah, right torso took it. He took 5 points of damage to the head. Well, that's automatic pilot hit, so he's taken 2 hits now. He barely succeeded in staying conscious. He's taken. There's the rest of the damage applying. Right leg and right leg again. And now you must roll a 6 to stay unconscious because of the. That's not. Actually, yeah, it's a plus 20 damage on that one technically too. So yeah, he barely is staying conscious at this point. That was to stay conscious. This was to avoid pilot damage. If he'd rolled a 5, he would have taken more pilot hits, and then we would have seen another pilot check. He could have technically blacked himself out. This is not a good place to be. I can't kick him with the Centurion because he's 2 levels down, but I'm, yeah, practically right behind him. He's having a very bad day, and he doesn't have... I can get up, but it actually requires declaring a running movement to do this. If he can get up. He's up. Okay. I would love to take advantage of that with the Hunchback, but I'm gonna have to keep kind of poking along here. I can't run when I'm underwater, so that's why this is taking quite a bit of time to get over there. And next unit. Let's see if don't have that capability. That's really annoying. I'll just see what happened to it, or if they even might have taken it out for quad mechs. Oh, no, there it is. Now I can see I'm using it. So, when you're moving units along, bring the propellants back over here, you'll see that it includes the facing that you're facing as you go into each hex. And you can see here it's let me do a sidestep for 2 MP. So I can actually get further out and get a decent shot on that trebuchet there. So that's what the quad mechs can do, which is a pretty handy thing to have. They can also mule kick as well, which is really fun, because then it's like someone gets behind you to kick you, and you're like, and you lash out with your rear legs, and you make him pay for getting behind you. But I want to take that Jenner and see... Can't do anything there, and it's not a jump-capable Jenner either, unfortunately. Can't run fast enough for that, so we'll just drew that. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Shooter fall down. Yep. Also, this is the last thing I want to be doing, is taking damage when I'm underwater, because I could breach any location that gets breached while you're underwater. That's not a good thing to have happen. That's how you lose everything in a torso location, or a leg, or an arm. You get that little, you get into it, you get internal damage, or you just roll badly, and suddenly that location is now flooded. And, you know, electricity or water conducts electricity about as well as Leonard Bernstein conducts a Philharmonic Orchestra. Yeah, it's not pretty what happens, and yeah, you basically lose everything for that game. The Whitworth decide to move up into the tree line, and the trebuchet is going to, now he's overheating, move up to engage in a bit of melee. Meanwhile, we have the Clint. The Clint is saying, I think I can do something useful here. Actually, he's got 6 jump jets. I forgot he can get right behind him. And you'll see just what happened there when we get into the weapons fire phase. Because that Centurion's in a little bit of trouble down here. That's not so good. That Centurion is potentially in for a little bit of hurt. But it doesn't matter what order I declare fire in, so I'm gonna... Well, I mean, it technically could. It might impact where your enemy is going to necessarily direct their fire, but for the purposes of this, considering the fact that I'm running both sides of this battle, yeah. There is a basic bot in the game that I could very easily, pull up for this. Stupid, they don't do that. It would be nice if they let you select multiple weapons and fire them at any specific target, but that's all I want to do. I don't want to fire off the LRMs because of the heat right now. You can see I've got a heat buildup at this point of 20, which is potentially dangerous for the trebuchet. Heat is a little more of your enemy in tabletop than it is for regular, for the PC game, because you get too hot and you can set off your ammo. It's not the case you're doing internal damage. You're setting off your ammo supply potentially, which is never a good thing. Looks like I don't have... They're still stuck underwater, so I can't fire that off. The Scorpion's not in a good spot, and because the Scorpion's a 4-leg mech, it can't torso twist. There is no twisting on that one, so he's out of the line of fire for everyone, because he can't shoot at anything, even the stuff right in front of him. The Centurion, you can see here, I can actually torso twist, and I can still get, if I had a weapon in my left arm, I could actually still hit something there. I could hit that unit. Can't do that in the PC game, because there's no torso twist, and they don't really give you anything about the arm arcs either. But that's okay, because my target's right in front of me, about to suck on an AC-10, or AC-20. With, I should add, no such thing as a refire penalty. Yeah, that doesn't exist in tabletop. I mean, you have to get into the racks if you want to start talking about, doing things that could potentially cause things to not fire so well. Let's fire off that AC-20. And I'm not worried about the LRMs at this point. I can't really shoot anything anyways. Unfortunately, the Dervish is not a fun thing to be in front of. Medium laser, SRM2, medium laser, SRM2, and 2 LRM-10s. If I wanted to try it. They're impossible shots, though. But they do have a house rule that basically says, well, if you want to, you can allow boxcars to be an automatic hit. And I do believe MegaMek actually supports that, too. So keep that in mind. We're going to fire... That AC-5 is... The AC-5 on the Dervish down here is actually within minimum range. So it's boxcars to actually hit normally. But we've got 2 medium lasers, so we're going to fire those off. Jumping and firing your weapons is not a great thing to do on the tabletop game. Alright, so that's just about everyone. Who do I have left here? You're... onto that one. AC-5 doesn't have anything you can really hit for darn, so there we go. Alright, weapons fire is taking effect. So you can see that the trebuchet whiffed on most of its fire. It did hit with 1 medium laser. That's the other thing you actually consider is heat makes it harder to fire. It's cooking your target circuits, basically. You can see some red down here. That means some good stuff is happening for me, potentially, or the enemy. Take your pick. The Ritworth returned fire with its medium laser at the trebuchet. So we've got 5 points of armor left on the left arm. Medium laser trebuchet hit center torso and rolled a crit. So this is like your when you're shooting at something in the PC game, you can score a crit hit potentially, and this one certainly did on the center torso, which is not all that great. And you can see it nicked the gyro. That is a bit of a problem. You do not want to take out a gyro, and that's something you don't see in... I haven't seen it in the PC game that much. You can't actually take a mech down by coring the gyro, or the engine for that matter. But you can do that in tabletop, which really seems like it should make more sense, because if you core an engine without taking out the center torso, you pretty much get that mech as salvaged. The engine's shot usually, but... in the PC game, it's not really possible. The AC-20, here's the big hitter of the day. 20 points of damage to the right arm. Takes out the right arm. 5 points left goes into the left torso. When it hit the arm, it did a crit hit on the left arm and touched off the SRM2 ammo. This is why you don't carry around a ton of SRM2 ammo, or SRM ammo period for an SRM2 in a mech, or machine gun ammo. These are the kind of the bad things that can happen that I referred to. That's 192 points of damage. because it's 2 points per missile, and there's 2 shots per the SRM. That should be about 25 point ammo bin, if I recall correctly. Suffers catastrophic damage, but the auto-eject system was engaged. Well, that's because that's 192 points applying to the arm, which then transfers to this left torso, which then transfers to the center torso, which basically cores the back. So ammo explosions on the PC game have been neutered somewhat, but on tabletop they can be absolutely deadly. In this case, it was beyond deadly. The Dervish pilot must make a piloting skill check because he's landing in a building from his auto-eject system. He managed to survive. That's surprisingly good news. But here's the damage transfer happening. It's kind of weird how they ordered all of this. And I think that's actually changed from where it used to be. It used to be ordered a lot more sequentially in order of what was happening. 192 points of damage to the left arm, which there was nothing left of that arm because it was completely destroyed. That 192 transfers to the left torso. That's gone. 179 points survives, transfers to the center torso. That's gone. You can see it also rolls a crit hit on the left torso because we did indeed do internal damage on it. And every time you hit internal structure, you have a chance of causing a crit, which it's hard to tell if they do that in the PC game or not. Rolled 2 crits, and they both hit in the arm 10. Well, that doesn't matter. It's destroyed anyways. 179 points of damage to the center torso, and it's gone. There's nothing there. The pilot ejected, so he doesn't take the damage from the ammo hit. Usually, if the ammo goes off, you take a pilot hit guaranteed. But that's only if you actually survive the ammo explosion in the deck. And then, just for amusement, 5 damage to the left torso, transfers to the center from another, that must have been a medium laser that hit? Where did that 5 points come from? Don't see where that came from, but 5 point would usually be a laser. It's not an AC-20 because the AC-20 is all a 20 point damage. Oh, I see what this is. This is the continuation of a 20 to the left arm, 5 points left over. That finally transfers through to the center torso down there. So good news, the Dervish is done. He gets his last shot off, but he misses on everything. He had a very bad day. The Clint, in the meantime, also having a bad day when he's right behind the Centurion. The Trebuchet, on the other hand, though, he's taking a gyro hit. That means it's harder for him to stay upright, and he's fallen. He also failed to avoid damage, so he's taken a pilot hit, and he is, fortunately, still conscious. Got all that? It makes for some really amusing using walls of text when you destroy a unit in this game. And now we're on to the physical attack phase, which now I might actually not have anything. Oh, I can actually do something. Because I can get my left arm around and there are no weapons in the arm that I fired. This is another difference between PC game and tabletop. I can melee and still attack with all of my weapons, provided none of those weapons are in the location that I am using to punch or kick with. There's no such thing as, well, you can shove if I remember right. But it looks like I got a punch, so it's not going to be that great of a shot. So I can't punch with the right arm, and that's the nice thing, you can actually punch with both arms. So I got a left arm hit that's going to be a 10 on a 2v6 to hit. Because of his movement, he jumped. It's going to be on the punch table, mostly upper torso damage. And the Whitworth has a kick against the prone target. That's a 97.2% chance to hit. It is not a called shot on a down target automatic or a prone target next to you. It is a little different in tabletop. Can't do anything with that thing except punch a building, which I'm going to do. And the Clint is going to go for a kick on a 41% chance. So here we go. So the punch missed. Not surprised there. The Whitworth kicked the Trebuchet, who was down. So it actually hits on the rear table, left leg. It's got 2 armor left on that leg. It's not great. The Clint did kick the Centurion and managed to hit. The Clint was standing, so he managed to hit the left leg. And the Centurion, when you're kicked, you have to make it roll to stay up. So it's not a... the stability bar that exists in the PC game is completely different from what you have in tabletop. Because tabletop, anything that could potentially induce you, make you fall over, there's a piloting skill check to make sure that, whether you make it or not. So there's a lot more randomness to the whole doesn't kick you over type thing. The clip is starting to heat up a little bit. We don't care about the Dervish anymore because it is gone. No shocker there. It's not exactly a very sturdy mech. The Trebuchet is still running hot because it moved and fired all of its lasers still. And we're back to round number 3. You're getting a sense of actually, let me address that one first. Strith, you are absolutely right. We basically cut that mech. Well, I wouldn't say cut it in half. What happened was we vaporized the arm, and the arm vaporized the rest of the mech for us, pretty much. There's really not much left there. I mean, when you look at BattleTech salvage rules, something that gets vaporized like that, there's generally no salvage from it anyways. If I was doing tabletop under my old campaign rules, there would be no salvage from that thing, because even though the damage transfer technically stops when you get to center torso, what I would do on the campaign is I would say, okay, this is a big explosion. It's going to go everywhere. It's not going to just say, oh, I knocked out the center torso, that's it, everything else is gone. I still kept applying it to the rest of the mech. So there is not much you ever got out of ammo explosions in my campaign, but that's okay, because my players are really annoyingly good at headshots with AC-20s. It's not pretty when your players are good at doing that. And I say that even to the point where there's a while where I was actually actively monitoring dice rolls because I was suspecting cheating going on, and there was not. That's how scary it was. I don't remember the Whitworth yet on the Capellan side. Scorpion. Can I back you up here? Feeling a little bit nervous at this point. Consolidate the forces a little bit. The Trebuchet is going to get back up and back the heck up if he can, but he can't. Let's do get up and keep turning that direction back up this direction. Alright, so 7 to get because I've got damage gyro. This is not a pretty state to be in, because 20 points of damage, if you do 20 points of damage, that's a pilot skill check in tabletop. So similar to when you swarm someone with 20 million LRMs, if all those LRMs hit in tabletop for a double LRM 15 burst, you're causing a chance to have them knocked down. So it's kind of interesting to keep that in mind. The Whitworth, though, has jump jets and is going to use them to good advantage here. And get you guys out. Ah, yes, and we are going to run him right down to engage that Scorpion. The Hunchback is out of the water. Which leaves me with who to move on this side. Here's the other amusing thing. You'll note that the mech warrior who ejected, he's on the board. He can actually move and does have weapons for the purpose of this fight. So if I move him over to where his mech was, he could potentially engage the Centurion here. So that really actually makes it funny, because then you have the potential high stakes of needing to... Ooh, actually, I like this. Let's show you guys charge here. So you can do the whole headlong tackle into a mech. It's just very difficult to pull off. But you can see I can do 20 points of damage if I hit. 6 points to myself, and I would potentially knock him backwards into the building, and then, the potential for a double basement or a basement. Yeah, it's not pretty. I'm going to try it anyway, so I need to do a skill check to make sure that I can turn on pavement. I should be able to do that. So it's going to stop me in the hex before the charge there. And now I got to tweak the music again there. I've got to stop before it stops me before I do that, because if anyone on the other team can fire enough into me and kind of make me fall down or destroy the mech, then this charge won't happen. So this is a little bit of panic time for the Capellans. who are going to move up to provide support. And the Jenner is sitting here saying, what are you, some kind of idiot? No. That's a rather hopeful series of movements there. They're apparently using the Apple navigation AI here. Cancel that one out. Actually, ooh, I can, but it's gonna be a tricky move. Let's try it. That's a lot of piloting skill checks to make for turning and skidding. And nope, doesn't look like it. Made it to the first one and then failed. Well, the good news is he's not blacked out. He did do a bit of skidding there, though, which is never good. Let's see where he actually ends up here. Yeah, he's over here prone. So he failed. Didn't even make that turn. He failed and skidded there. Which is better than doing another skid off into the water again. I'll be honest about that. Let's see. What else do we have here? I believe that's pretty much it. It's Capellan's turn to fire, according to this, so let's go ahead and teach the trebuchet the error of its ways. He jumps, so I'm going to fire medium lasers off of him. Trebuchet is in a bit of a pickle. Can't really shoot anything, but he does have 2 medium lasers in his right arm. So if I twist in that direction, the right arm actually does have a shot back behind him. We're pretty decent low hit chance there, or decent hit chance there. So we'll deal with that and see what happens with that shot. Yeah, there's something you cannot do in the PC game. The Scorpion. Oh, that Hunchback could be in a bit of a surprise here. The Scorpions are not a fun thing to corner. So that's a PPC and an SRM coming at him. He's going to return fire with almost everything he's got. I mean, he can't fault a Hunchback pilot for trying this, just that not very good. You're kind of missing an AC-20 because you've got the 2 LRM-10s. Yeah, water gives a definite movement penalty. If you're in depth 2 water, you basically can't run. Depth 1 water, well, depth 2 water you can't even shoot into or out of, basically, for anything on shore. That's why these guys couldn't be shot at when they were approaching. Depth 1's a little different. If you're shooting someone in the water, it's basically acting like partial cover. So it's harder to hit them, but you have more, you basically will only hit on their upper, the torsos and the arms, pretty much. We'll forego the small laser on that shot, because it's impossible to hit just about. Clint is going to be opening up into the back of that mech, no matter what. The Mech Warrior has nothing he can really do, because he doesn't have anything he can see or shoot. For the game purposes, they basically give them the equivalent of a, I think of it like a rifle, if I remember right. Left arm shot there. You can see I can actually fire while prone on the ground. Here's something you can't do in BattleTech, or the PC game. Can't really do it though because long range, the attacker ran, plus my movement, plus I'm prone on the ground. It's hard to do. Yeah, there's no way I'm going to be able to fire anything off that unit. I am okay with that. Alright, weapons fire. What do we got here? The trebuchet took some damage to the right leg. And, ooh, 2 shots to the right leg. He's not having fun. Weapons fire for the trebuchet against the Whitworth from his right arm. Managed to somehow cross-body shoot into the right leg. I'm not exactly sure how that worked. PPC to the Hunchback. That did some nasty hits. No effect on the PPC for things like targeting or anything next turn. That is unique to the PC game. And splats of damage off of that SRM-6, but nothing too bad. 4 missiles of it hit. Medium lasers, medium lasers, medium lasers. At the Scorpion, only 2 hits off of that. That could still hurt. They were both to the center torso. And the Centurion did take some damage, but not enough to knock him down. So this charge attack is going to go off as planned. This is where things are going to get interesting. We have a kick from the Compellens coming in. I do not believe I can... That is actually the perfect arc to come after a quad mech on. He cannot actually kick into the arc that is coming from him. Mule kick is directly behind only. That unit cannot do anything. Because of the way that the turn order works, this charge still hasn't gone off yet. It's simultaneous with everything else going on. So the Clit is actually going to kick the Centurion. At this point, it does not matter if the Centurion gets knocked down from this kick. That kick, or his charge attack, will still go off, I believe. Actually, yeah, because it's simultaneous damage. It's initiative-based, though. So it depends on where the initiative order is, I believe. Could be wrong. It's been a while since I had a good conflict like that going on. The Hunchback can only basically just kick the building, so that doesn't really matter. Alright. Let's see what we got. The Whitworth kicking off things, pun intended, with a kick on the Trebuchet. The armor is gone. We're down to 6 internal structure left. That's not good, because one more kick to that leg could very easily take that leg off. The Clint kicked the Centurion that was making the run. It failed. So the Centurion is definitely going in here with this charge. Okay, so Scorpion, he needs a 9 to make that charge, and he made it. Oh, I love this. 6 damage to the attacker. We're resolving that first. So this is Centurion takes 5 points of damage to the left arm, 1 point of center torso damage that managed to roll a critical hit. No effect on it, so he is incredibly lucky. The Defender, however, takes 20 points of damage on his left side. So about as good as firing off that AC-20. 6 armor remaining, 9 armor remaining, 1 armor remaining on the right torso. Ooh, I like that. And the FLL would be front left leg. That's how they differentiate the front left leg, front right leg, rear left leg, rear right leg. So the Centurion must make a piloting skill check while moving from one hex to the other because he's been shoved into the building essentially. Unfortunately, because he's a quad mech, he actually gets a stability bonus. That's the cool thing about quad mechs. They're very stable platforms. So it's very hard to knock them over because he's got an inherent, -2 to his piloting skill. The lower your piloting skill, or the lower your gunnery skill, the better off you are in the game. It's kind of a little odd, but that's how it works. Whereas in the PC game, the higher your skill level is, the better of a shot you are. But that's kind of nice because it means you do have a cap. The piloting and gunnery skills cap a lot better in tabletop. So the basement, well, the building he's going into has a basement, so he's fallen down a level. Has an unknown basement. Oh, actually... Okay, the basement of building... It's kind of wording that one weird. Basically, he's displaced into Hex 10009, and it needs to roll a basement, because when you're going into a building, it's a random roll to see what it's got for basements. There's no basement, so he doesn't fall. He's just displaced. Trebuchet was kicked, and he's got gyro damage, so he pulls a Hail Mary there. With an 11 to stay, he's standing. The Centurion needs to make a piloting roll because he charged. He stays standing. The Scorpion's got 2 piloting rolls because he was charged, and he took 20 points of damage in one phase. He succeeds on his first one and then borks the roll in the second one with a 3, so he falls down. Damage to the center torso. Scorpion's not having a good day here. That's he takes damage because he's fallen, but he's still conscious, so that's good. And the Centurion, or the Clint, because he missed a kick, has to roll to stay upright. Because you miss a kick, it's kind of like Charlie Brown in the baseball. Charlie Brown in the baseball, wow. Let's completely screw up that cultural reference. Charlie Brown in the football. But he manages to stay upright. So everyone, it's nice to have people go into the miscellaneous stuff, so the heat phase, and everyone is sort of cooling down except for the Trebuchet, who is not happy that things are going the way they're going. Mr. Trebuchet, which is, I believe, where I actually put Farrell. I should have put him in the Centurion. That would have made more sense with the Thug Ram there. Alright, back to initiative phase, and the Capellans scored initiative again. Or actually, no, they lost initiative. They have to move first, which is not good for them. They are going to choose to activate the Scorpion first and see what they can do. Get him out of danger, but he has to make a polygon to get up. He does. Even Crap walked it to boot there. I would rather. Well, we know this building does not have a double basement, so that's actually good for me. Oh, come on, game. Seriously? No. You turn into here, and then you walk forward at a run. Why are you doing this massive, completely unnecessary loop? Alright, so Centurion, as I was trying to not say. He's in kind of a difficult bind right now. I'm going to keep him on the Scorpion and turn him. This is the great thing about it being text-based. You can move him in such a way that that's going to keep his back safe. Because I know things have been shooting at his back, but he can still shoot the AC-20 there. And yeah, it's a tough one for the Clint here. The way the line of sight works in the game is from here he may not be able to see the Centurion. He definitely won't be able to see the Hunchback because it works off of the hex lines basically. And Defender gets choice when it's in a situation where it's split right along the line. In this case, I don't want to use the Trebuchet yet. I want to bring him straight up in there. I want him to be in his face. Which leaves the Capellans to make the last move, and they've got to move him up there. Which is not all that ideal. That would be a building collapse if I go there. Collapse building. Burn. Building is just strong enough to support him, so I can do a little bit of a demonstration here. Let's see, if I back up to there, I won't have line of sight. That's actually a neat thing. They added the line of sight display in one of the newer versions. Turn. Face him dead on. Which leaves the Mech Warrior. Move the Mech Warrior out into the open here. Just one guy running down on the street. Yeah, that's not very ideal. The Prone Generator, yeah. The Prone Generator can get up. I didn't want to move them just yet because this is something of a traffic nightmare now when you start talking about fighting in a city. And there's that really wonky setup that it wants to do again. We'll move him up to there. Should have no problems getting up. Or not. Oh, you needed a 7, the most common roll in 2d6 to get up, and you screwed it up. Oh, that's lovely. Nope, and you failed to avoid damage on a 7 as well. Oh, the fickle nature of dice. You can make all the fun you want about XCOM percentages, but this is the genuine XCOM percentage. Oh no! He's fallen again. He's failed to avoid damage again. Remember how Sega was kind of overpowered for these guys? Yeah, that's kind of changing now. They may be down a mech, but the Trebuchet's not in great shape, and if the Jenner could potentially bash itself. Yep. The Jenner's on the basically at a point where just even trying to get up might not be a good idea. You're gonna destroy yourself just trying to stand up here, my friend. These guys, for the most part, have very average or slightly below average skills at this point. So they're not very ideal for what they are trying to do. That's 8 if I wanted to try to declare running movement. We'll try. Can you make it up? He's not going to go anywhere. Hey! There he goes. He finally made it. That's how often you can fail to get a 7 or higher on a pair of 2d6. This were actual tabletop, I'd be complaining that I was rolling my old box set dice, because they were notorious for having rotten luck. If we go up here, we're going to see some fire coming in from the Whitworth on the Trebuchet. And we're going to keep trying on those medium lasers for it. Trebuchet is going to return fire on the building, because the building is a lot easier to hit with missiles within minimum range. And I can do enough damage to pretty much guarantee that they're going to come down. Now, if I fire off both LRM-15s, that's a lot of heat buildup there. 5 heat. I'm only going to fire off one LRM-15 at the building. That should be enough to get that. They just weren't cocked on that one. They were that was just falling off on the floor. Clearly it fell off the floor and the game didn't want to let me reroll. The answers must rest where the dice rest. The Capellans. You have a Centurion in front of you and you have a Hunchback slightly afterwards. I think you need to take down that Centurion with the AC-20. That's PPC minimum range. I should point out, because none of my guys have it over here, but PPCs do indeed have a minimum range. Also not very well reflected in the PC game. So I actually have a harder chance to hit these guys because they're within that, whereas if I could hit this guy out here, I'd have actually about the same odds, actually. Minimum range modifier versus range modifier for that shot would be about the same. So, let's see, we're going to go after... Yeah, that's easier to hit target. I can do the most damage to it. Where am I going to send the Hunchback's fire? Well, the Scorpion's in pretty bad shape. I'm going to do the silly thing, though, because I know the Clint. Let me actually show you how I can take a look at him here so I can see what he's got on board. I can see where all of his systems are, just like you can in tabletop, where I can look at any enemy. But better yet, I can see the armor display for the enemy from that window there. So he's taking a lot of damage to his left leg. I can't cold shot that left leg. It's not a capability that I have in the game. But it is something I can work with and at least get some intel on what I'm shooting at here. That's a lot of medium lasers going into him, and the small laser for extra effort. The Clint is going to return the favor because he cannot indeed see that Centurion that's blocked line of sight for him. So he's going to be sticking with the Hunchback. And the Centurion is going to dedicate an AC-20 to that Scorpion, which is probably not going to be on the battlefield still. Amusingly enough, the mech warrior that is down and on the ground, he could actually spot for a direct fire if he wanted to. Can't really do that this turn because the unit that could fire has already moved, but kind of no way I can hit him from there. It's out of range. So not worth firing. Let's see what happened with that phase. Medium lasers from the Trebuchet, or from the Whitworth at the Trebuchet. 0 armor left on that right leg. So he's in a bit of trouble. The Trebuchet returned fire and 9 missiles hit. That did 9 points of damage. We will see that take effect shortly, I believe. The Scorpion fired the PPC. Ooh, and that's evil. That's the arm there. He took a shoulder actuator hit, which means it's going to be hard to shoot all the weapons in that arm. Don't know where the AC-20 is on him. I believe the AC-20 is right arm, as I recall. And the LRMs are left torso. Oh, lovely of you to pop up that music for that particular crit hit. Hunchback. Medium laser. Leg. Nothing serious. Uh-oh. But leg again. There's a jump jet gone. Leg again. There's a foot. So now he's going to be moving slower on foot. Left arm. Left arm again. That was not good. That was a double crit to shoulder and lower arm. Just more difficulty in firing anything in that arm. And left leg. No crit hit. 5 internal structure left. So the Clint has basically been potholed by the not the, well, it's not a swayback really, the 2 LRM-10s. Yeah, I can't remember what you would technically call that one. It's a nasty back, really. Clint's firing back at the Hunchback. Nothing really going on there. Weapons fire for the Centurion on the Scorpion. Ouch. Okay, well, there goes all the center torso armor. There's 1 internal structure point left. And that was a double engine crit. So at this point, that means that mech effectively, if it's only got 10 heat sinks in it, you know, just the nave that you get with an engine, he's not cooling down anymore, unless he shuts down. He's a PPC mech, so he's putting out a lot of heat. I hope he has the heat sinks to deal with it. The building that Whitworth was in collapsed due to a heavy load, so he's been hit by falling debris, doing some damage to his right leg. He also falls 2 levels, because it's a level 2 building. Falls on his right side, taking damage to the right leg, right torso, and right arm. Manages to avoid falling unconscious, that's good. The Scorpion's still up, the Clint is not, from all the damage he took. Leg, foot actuator hits, and the 20 plus damage. He's down. Takes 4 points of damage to the head, and yeah. I took one in the gut. 1 damage, still conscious. Okay. The Capellans are not having a good day. It's the 4th succession war. It's the 2nd wave of attacks. No one's having a good day on the Capellan side here, especially because now it's physical attack phase. The Scorpion is going to try to kick that Centurion, and has a 91.6% chance to hit with 11 damage. So he could still do quite a bit. The Trebuchet is not going to attack the building, and the Hunchback is indeed going to kick the down and prone Clint. You'll note, again, no indirect fire, even though I'm right next to them. You cannot do that sort of... If you're doing indirect fire, you're basically having to call for it, and not an option here. You can tell I'm working with the... I'm definitely working with the Total Warfare rules, because a lot of this stuff doesn't exist in the BMR. But yeah, we'll just give him a kick. 10 points. The Jenner could kick the ground in frustration for all I care. And let's see. The Scorpion missed its kick. The Hunchback did the kick to the Clint. Took off its leg. Not that it really matters about the jump jet and foot, because those are pretty much gone. 3 of that damage went to the center right torso. And then 3 damage to the right torso. For that, there's plenty of armor left, so it doesn't go internal. The Centurion, I kind of paused there because going over that in my mind's like, wait a minute. You can kind of say it doesn't really matter if the section is destroyed, whether you do crit rolls on it or not, but it does technically count for salvage. Kick at the Scorpion succeeded on the front left leg, which did all of the armor. It went internal on it, but no damage. Aww. And the Scorpion's still standing. Tough thing to take down a quad mech with that sort of thing. Heat phase. Force... what are we at? Oh, that Scorpion's at 21 heat now. So you can see at various heat levels, you have various rolls that you have to complete in order to avoid things like shutdown and ammo explosions. That's why it's dangerous to overheat a mech in tabletop. PC game, it's guaranteed damage no matter what you do. It's just you don't have to deal with an ammo explosion or a random shutdown. Not so on tabletop. You've got to worry about that. So we are in bad shape with that Scorpion. In fact, firing next turn is not advised. The battle computer is saying, no, you don't want to do that. The alarms are going off in the cockpit. Get out. The radiation symbols flashing on the dash, so to speak. Looks like it's the Paladin's turn to move, and yeah. Here's the other fun thing is when you get heat damage, right, the more heat you build up, the slower you're going to be able to go. The Scorpion is normally much quicker than a 2-3, believe me. But yeah, it is in bad shape there. And in fact, you'll even notice that as far as most BattleTech scenarios go, it would be considered crippled at this point. 2 engine hits is usually enough for a force withdrawal rule, and that's a tough one to do. Back him up a bit. We're gonna run the trench bucket up. Take the advantage. Well, no, I don't want to do that. I do not want to move him yet. Let's find Mr. Jenner. Can I interest you? No, I can't interest you. I can interest you in doing that, though. Let's see if he survives multiple piloting skill checks again. Yes, he made it! That's exactly where I want that Jenner right now. Okay. Let's get him up and turn him. Now the fun thing about a mech with that's like, first off, it can only move one hex. That's walk or run. And it is a massive penalty to things like standing up and piloting rolls. And to boot, not only is he missing the right leg, he's got left leg actuator damage, which is making this even harder. It's an 11 to try to get up. Yeah, he did not make it. It's not going to stop to show me that damage because it's basically considered his movement over. I can't jump the hunchback, but I like where he is at. I'm going to stay put. And move the Mech Warrior up because he counts for initiative because I still don't have to move the Whitworth just yet. But I can out-initiative the AI at this point. It is not a concern. I need to go. You can see I've got some other options here in game because I'm technically the game master mode here. Walk back up. Long run, long run. I haven't actually seen what those do. To know what those movements are. This is where my lack of knowledge on Total Warfare actually becomes a problem. Back up into you. No, you're considering that 4 movement points. Oh, I've got it. Huh. Oh, yep. I'm just gonna park him there. He's got an AC-20. That Scorpion's gonna not be there after this turn. Whitworth doesn't have a choice. He needs to get up and do anything. That. Kick off in a bit of a shamble, expecting that the Trebuchet cannot get behind him, but with a lucky piloting roll, he might be able to. This is very bad. No, we do not want to do that. Not with a damaged gyro. So I want to do that kind of sidestep. Hey, good news. When the Clint tried to stand up, it blasted off its own arm. Oh, this poor guy. Alright, weapons phase. I have torso twist and she'll fire on you. And we'll take care of his fire. Trebuchet is also going to torso twist joust and engage with his medium lasers. You see, it keeps track of my heat buildup as I'm doing that, so I know I'll be 4 points over at the end of this round. So he is done. Oh, that Scorpion. That is a +7 to hit that Jenner right now. Let me show you what it looks like for the Capellans right now here. That Scorpion, because of the movement that Jenner's got, that is almost an impossible two-hit shot with the PPCs right now. It's a 14 to hit. Even an SRM6 has only got an 8% chance to hit. So that's kind of your evasion. That's like a 5 evasion in tabletop, or not in tabletop, in the PC game right there. That is particularly nasty, so the best I can really do is keep going after that Centurion, and yeah, probably not, because my heat levels are so bad right now. I can't fire anything. That is the worst thing I could do, would be to fire anything right now, because I will just explode. In fact, what I'm going to do is, there is an option here. I don't know if it's going to let me do it because it's weapons phase. In the movement phase, I can declare that I'm going to dump ammo out of the mech. Because obviously the SRM ammo on board is basically just a warhead waiting to go off. So I am not going to fire, I'm just moving at this point. And let's see, I've got a... I wanted to get a called shot on a mech, by the way. There's a way to do it, and the problem is the mech has to be prone and immobile. So for the purposes, even though the leg is blasted off of this Clint, it's a 30-meter hex, he's still considered to be capable of moving within that hex to avoid fire. If he's immobile because he's shut down or the pilot is unconscious, then it is a called shot. An unconscious pilot does not immediately knock the unit out of the game like it does in the PC game. So, Mr. Hunchback, yeah, you've got a pretty good shot here, and you're doing really good on heat. I'm going to just go ahead and ride that heat curve. We'll go one less medium laser, so I'm only 1 point over on heat. And the Clint, I don't believe has a way to shoot anything. Everything he's got is a right arm or a left torso or center torso weapon. If you have a center torso weapon, you can fire in the forward hexes, but in this case, that's these 3 hexes for the Clint's current facing. And even then, if you're prone with destroyed arm, you can't fire anything in the torsos. If you're prone with 2 destroyed arms, you can't fire anything in the torsos. If you're prone with 1 arm destroyed and you're not firing weapons in that arm, you can fire the torso weapons. And also, if you're prone with both arms attacked and you've got weapons in one of them, you can usually prop up one and fire at the other arm. Not the case here. He's got nothing he can do. And now let's pump another AC-20 into that Scorpion. Done. And the Mech Warrior actually... even have a shot, my friend? Tell me you've got a shot. I'm seeing a +0 on here. What is your deal? Can you shoot or not? You are considered to be a 1-person platoon. And your range, you have a medium laser. Nah, that can't be right. Huh. No, he can't shoot anything for whatever reason. Technically, 30-20-60 shouldn't have a laser rifle, technically, but apparently he does. Don't ask me how. Did really good on a scratch check on the black market. Fire all those medium lasers. Take it down. Make it hurt. I want to see it bleed. Alright, so the Trebuchet is taking 5 points damage to the left leg. He's down to 1 internal structure. That leg is about to fall off if he doesn't take a good rip down here. And it's looking like I see some red down below. That could be pretty favorable. Trebuchet on the Whitworth. Left arm, left torso, left arm. Yeah, Trebuchet's going to need some backup very soon. Hunchback. Firing on the Clint. Right arm, 1 armor remaining. Left torso armor's been destroyed. He knocked out a medium laser. Hit left torso again with a crit. So that's even better. He's got 4 internal damage. He rolled No, there's only one thing that he could hit there, and he had two crit chances. One's for hitting the internal structure, and one because the damage chart hit a 2, which is a crit, and applied the roaming crit rule, basically. Actually, no, it's a side shot. What am I saying? Left torso is perfectly legit to have a crit to that location on the hit chart. I did roll 2 locations, but there's only one item in there that can take a crit, so yeah, it's toast, and crits don't transfer like damage does. The AC-20 to the Scorpion, hit the center torso, it's gone. Yep, that's pretty much a given. The generous shots don't really matter because there's nothing left of the Scorpion there except a cored out center torso. So we're done with that Scorpion, which means we're at physical phase, and it's going to be a case of the Whitworth can't punch because he fired weapons in his arms. The Hunchback can kick the prone Clint, which is 100% guaranteed to hit 10-point damage. Centurion does not need to kick. The Jenner does not need to kick. Technically, the pilot... Does the pilot eject automatically? I don't believe they've ejected automatically in this case. We hit the clit, not hit... Oh, jeez. That's the reason why I don't deploy a Clint all that often. I apologize for that verbal slip. Jeez. That's why I don't think you see the Clint very often in BattleTech novels and tabletop scenarios. It is so too easy to do that. Alright. Crit on the right torso. Jump jet's gone. It's that the Clint has seen better days, and he is about to go down. We're on a 4-2, but that Trebuchet is basically walking wounded and can't really get away from that Whitworth very easily. He's a jump capable Whitworth, so he can very easily keep up the attack. And with that damaged gyro, I can't exactly even run to get out of the way either, for that matter. So let's look at Mr. Jenner and get him up there for support. I will take the chance on intentionally turning not on that road there, but once I'm in the woods. It's an extra movement point to get into the woods, and this is gonna, if I make it, give me a pretty good laser shot there, and yep, we made it. Awesome. Okay, Jenner is in perfect position to provide supporting fire for the Trebuchet now. Trebuchet just has to not get hit in that leg anymore. Capellans are up. We want to move... Please get up, Clint. Please. Try. You must try. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Immobile and prone. Someone got knocked unconscious. I see a called shot coming up. Trebuchet. Back that up. Have a nice, clean firing line there. The Capellans at this point are going to say, I see what you're doing, and I will raise you some extra damage where you don't want it. That's a kick and weapons into rear arc, so that Trebuchet is still in danger. The Hunchback is in perfect position for a beautiful shot, so I'm actually going to keep him where he is. And the Centurion, I can pull this off. Can I do it? Yes, okay. AC-20 downrange on the Whitworth. Seems like a pretty good shot to me. The Mech Warrior is also going to join up with the Clint there, so he's going to be firing from his position. Yeah, there you go. So he failed getting up. Again, no big surprise. He needs an 11 to pull it off. Damage to left arm, the left torso rear. Because he's falling again, he needs to avoid damage. He needs an 11 to avoid that now. Yeah, he's gone. He took damage. He needed a 7 to stay unconscious. Not rolling that. He's out. Out cold. And all the pilot moves succeeded. So we are in good shape for kicking off this round, aside from the fact that the Trebuchet may be in over its head. So torso twist to the right, get the right arm on the rear arc. 72% chance is not much to sneeze at, but we'll take it. And here's where you see an aimed shot in tabletop. So you can see it's automatically picked because it assumes I'm going to be targeting the downed Clint. I could shoot the Mech Warrior, but that's very poor sport to do that. Let's take a look at what we've got there. So where do I want to target that shot? Well, you can see he's got next to no armor left anywhere except on the head, which I could target the head. Left torso, right torso, left leg. Could go for the center torso. But really, if I knock out that left torso, I'll blow off the leg. So that's where I really want to fire on for that guy. Go back to my weapons shot here. Left torso, and fire the medium lasers. And you can see because he's down, he's prone and mobile, it's basically a guaranteed to hit. So I'm probably even likely to core straight through this thing with this many weapons firing at him. I mean, even at this point, minimum range and the LRMs will even take him out, but I'm pretty good for heat, so yeah. No need to fry myself to pull this off. Whitworth is, of course, firing what it can. And the Centurion is going to invite the Whitworth to enjoy a fresh helping of AC-20, but not a very good shot on that. Not even odds on the LRM in minimum range or the AC-20 there. So no guarantees, enough to make him think, hopefully. Let's see, why am I not getting a... Here's something else that you don't have in the PC game. Because the Jenner does not have any lower arm actuators, all of its weapons are basically right off the shoulders, I can flip arms. The MegaMek should be able to do this in the game as well, and it can't do that. Unfortunately, because of that, it's not letting me twist for some reason, and I think that is something they changed, which is really effing annoying. I was not anticipating that. It's okay, he's overheated anyway, so... let's see, and we're down to fire phase off of the Mech Warrior. Can you do it? Weapon order. Yeah, you're not actually, you haven't given them, they've changed that in MegaMek since then. They don't actually have weapons now, which is really effing annoying. They can't actually target anything. It's the mech is right next to him, so maybe he'll get in the cockpit and wake the other guy up, or kick him out and take over instead. He's not taking any weapons, so there we go. That's all set. All right, let's see what we had happen here. The Whitworth fired on the trebuchet, not on that leg location. Good. The Clint's left torso is now gone, which went through to the center. 10 points of armor remaining. 5 points of armor. 0 points of armor remaining. Straight into the left arm, to the left torso, to the center torso. Gyro and engine. Gyro there, so he's not getting up now. That gyro is toast. There's 2 gyro hits, and yeah, the mech is never standing again until you replace the gyro. So at this point, he's already effectively immobilized. But then he takes 3 more damage to the center torso and knocks it out completely. So, Cord. Clint is no more. Thank goodness, so I can not typo that, or not screw up that name. Weapons fire for the Centurion, the AC-20 and the LRM-10 both missed. The Trebuchet... Oh, that wasn't... Oh... I thought that was the... I skipped over it. I thought that was more damage to the Clint. No. That was the second hit on the Trebuchet's gyro. And 2 points on the engine. Oh. Yep. Trebuchet is not getting up until that gyro gets replaced. That's not going to happen. He has taken damage. He's still conscious, but yeah. He can twist around on the ground and that's it. And unfortunately, it does mean... no, I'm not going to kick the Mech Warrior that's down on the ground. I'm not going to kick the building. It means that he has no way to avoid this kick that's coming in very shortly. It's going to do 8 points of damage to the center torso, 4 points remaining. Not good. Well, Trebuchet doesn't have to worry about generating heat while moving anymore. Whitworth is overheated. But you get when you start firing weapons and jumping around. And yeah, the Capellans have to go first, then the Thug Brigade, and the Capellans. So the Mech Warrior that's out there, he's going to choose to go first. I enter you into... Okay, good. So it does... There's something wonky with how it displays the movement, essentially. It wants to show it as a big, massive move, but it still lets you do it because infantry can kind of go into buildings without a problem. Well, the good news is I'm facing the correct direction for now. We're just going to stay put because getting up is something I can no longer do at all. And in the meantime, let's get a movement going on here. He's not going to fire. I'll go ahead and take the turn on pavement. For that last bit. And the Trebuchet is going to... What's the deal with that building there? Oh, that's a beautiful CF factor. I do not have to worry about that building collapsing. Yoink! Not about ready to dance with a Jenner. And he's going to have to dance with the Centurion. 2 movement points to do that. Sure. Jenner is going to join in the festivities. Good news is I believe that building's high enough that he shouldn't be able to... Actually, no, it's a level... Ooh, that's a level 1. He has head kick potentials from there. Elevation distance in BattleTech PC, not a real factor when it comes to physical attacks, but in tabletop, I'm a level up, which means all 3 of these mechs, I could pick one to kick in the head potentially, or at least on the torso arm locations. My turn to fire. I want that Centurion. I will say to heck with the heat and run the risk of blowing up at this point. Yeah, he can't really do anything here. All of his line of sights are blocked. He can see this hex. He can see debatable on that hex. It'd be Defender's Choice, which it's the map defending. So he can't really do much of anything unless someone spots for indirect fire. Which actually, let me do this. Hunchback, your heat buildup's kind of bad. That's bad. I am going to... You have it. You're not letting me spot fire. What? Wow. Okay, they've done something to screw that up. Don't know how, but... normally I would just be able to say... I'd hold him off and move someone else and have him spot fire, but... Basically, you need another unit to be able to spot fire for you, and that unit cannot do anything like weapons fire in that turn. So you gain the ability to fire indirectly, but you lose the ability to do any damage from the other unit. But it can still work out pretty good, especially for your units that don't have any weapons left. The Whitworth, because that's 120 CF building. I'm not going to reduce it down below 40 anytime soon. Fire, fire... Fire, 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 fire. You can tell this is going to be a very short weapons phase here to some extent, because I don't think this guy's going to make it through this turn. This is an awful lot of incoming fire pouring into him. Whitworth. Okay, let's see if the Whitworth survives this. The Whitworth does get his shots off first, right torso, and yeah, that's about it on the Centurion. Centurion shrugs that off. There's medium lasers coming in, a couple missed, center torso. He's down to 1 armor left on that center torso. The AC-20 missed by 1. Ugh. Amusingly enough, the medium lasers on the Jenner made the best contribution here. That's 5 points of damage right torso into the internal structure with a crit chance that rolled a 10. You need a 9. You need an 8 or a 9 to do one crit hit, a 10 or 11 to do 2 crit hits, and if you roll a boxcars on that crit hit chance, if it is an arm or leg, you blow the limb off outright, or you do 3, I believe it's 3 crits internally. I have to remember to look that one up when I get done. So yeah, the Whitworth is now taking certainly more than 20 points of damage in one phase. He fails his piling check, falls down, but is still conscious. Poor guy. Yeah, MegaMek is Lazy Monkey. It's kind of a thing where it helps to have some knowledge of BattleTech going into it, but at the same time, it actually helps you if you don't have all that great of knowledge of the tabletop game. I mean, the bots have been improving a little bit over the years. I mean, way back when it first came out, there were no bots in the game that could actually do you could actually play against. I'm playing against myself, which is not all that challenging because inside knowledge and everything on what I'm planning. But like, the fact is, I know he's probably not. I could get back up from that. I believe, no, I can't punch. Because I look at, yeah, left arm, right arm, at the lasers. So the hunchback could kick the building. I mean, I can kick it for what good it's going to do. It's 100% chance guaranteed 10 points of damage. Might as well, right? Can I punch? Nope. Can I kick the building as well? Just because I can. Kick it good. Jenner can't punch because both of its arms have weapons, so same thing. Kick it. We're not going to cause this building to go down. It's got 120 points of, just 93 CF remaining after all that. 110 points of damage total, or 120 when it started off there. And again, not necessarily something you'd want to actually do in game. Kind of. Hopefully there are no civilians in that building. Hopefully this is a military seaport. Otherwise, this unit could be in for a little bit of a heel hauling in front of the mercenary review board. Helens have the dubious honor of going first. Mech Warrior is opting to move first. The Gyroless Mech is just going to stay there. And let's keep moving because the Whitworth could get up again. Don't know where he's necessarily going to go, but I might as well be prepared for that eventuality here. And I should point out, here is something I've complained about in-game. I've got the Whitworth here, and you will note that I have the option to get up, which is basically you're going to use movement points. So you see I've got 2 there. I cannot jump with a prone mech. That is decidedly not allowed. If I'm on jump movement and I say get up, I also cannot use that and jump. That is not allowed in the tabletop game. In the PC game, you got a prone mech, you can happily stand them back up and then jump. So let's be honest, there is a little bit of a cheat that the game is going through here. And you are looking at, yeah, that's all you can move. Alright, get the Capellans away. You're not supposed to see them. What are you doing there? You can't see that. You're spies. Except for the fact that, honestly, it's a level 1 building. Yeah. There's no escaping his fate at this point. This is not going to be a pretty round. Those of you with small children in the room may want to turn away because this is going to be an utter clusterfuck. The Centurion, the Capellans have the right to fire first, for what good it does. Target the Jenner, and lob everything at him. They are down 1 medium laser. They are overheated. Surprised that mech has not shut down yet. He's got no fire there, not even indirect. Hunchback. Target the Whitworth. Lasers, medium lasers, small lasers. He does not have... Yeah, the infantry are being allowed to spot indiscriminately. Okay, they must have changed that in Total Warfare. I am not doing anything this turn. Turian, going after the Whitworth with the AC-20. Plenty of ammo left on it. And we're done with that. And the Jenner, single. Drop all those medium lasers. Okay, let's see what happens to the Whitworth here. The Whitworth was able to not really do anything in his fire on the Jenner. And yeah. There you go. Whitworth destroyed by damage to the center torso. Because he had 10 internal structure left here. He'd already lost the upper leg, upper arm, lower arm. Even with the center torso, that's 20 points of damage with the AC-20. That was 10 points of internal structure left. So the shot goes into the back, rips through, comes out the front. There's pieces of the gyro just flying out through the air. Some of it's still trying to actually do its rotational spin to keep the mech upright. Fragments going all over the rooftop. Basically, the Whitworth is going to stand for a little bit and just kind of waver back and forth a little bit, and then it's going to drop like it was just went through a. It's just going to drop, boom, right there. Like it had its power cut. Even though it's still got power, it doesn't have much left. It's on backup power at this point. The batteries have turned on to basically keep the cockpit going, and that's about it because the fusion core has dropped. And as it stands, look at that. Right arm gone, right torso gone. Center torso is toast. The LRM-10 kind of shreds itself in agony as the rounds that were about to fire just limply fall out of the tubes to the ground. Fortunately, the warheads don't go off, but yeah. Yeah, that's toast. Now, don't tell me you're going to make me actually... Are you actually going to make me call this on the grounds of you think that I'm going to target the building? Or because the mech warrior is still there? You are telling me that the mech warrior is still there. Oh, here we go. Yeah, now you'll note it's recognizing no gyro. That's actually a change. It used to just be, mobile, but now it's just no gyro. So that's a nice thing to see. The problem is I need to end the combat and where are my options here? This is one thing that I would like to see them improve, and they haven't quite. And that is, if I get down to a point where I've got a mech warrior on the board, really, I don't need to worry about that. Let's actually show you some of the other stuff while I'm still in the game here before I kind of run through quickly and end it. You'll note that I do have the ability, like if I were a game master, I can actually, if I've saved off, if I want to drop in some reinforcements on my side or reinforcements on the other player's side, I can do that. So in fact, let's really have some fun here. Unit list reinforced from the rat. And let's drop in a heavy to give these guys a little bit of a challenge. So let's roll up one, and it's going to give me... No, that's not what I was looking for, game. First off, give me one unit, please. Weight class is heavy. Don't give me Vindicators. I don't want Vindicator. Generate. There we go. Rolling up. Archer. Ooh, that's an evil selection there. Add selected. Okay. I probably shouldn't have done that from this side. I'm going to get to move him in next time. I've never actually played around with this before. So he can't do much. Thug Brigade. Skip through the fire phase. Everyone's going to cool off a little bit. Yes, no actions. No actions. No actions. Okay, do I get to drop in? Do I get my other unit here? Aha, I do believe I do. Do I have to drop them in where the scenario started me off? Yes, I do. Okay. We're gonna see reinforcements suddenly show up. This is an archer, another mech that is not in the PC game, and is actually, it's a rather nice mech. It's kind of, as far as lore in the game, this would be Jamie Wolf's mech for the longest time. And it's a pretty decent ride. 2 LRM-20s, 2 medium lasers. It's not bad on the armor side. It's pretty good for a heavy mech. For a maneuverability side, about average for a heavy. You can see this also has some fluff quirk, some fluff text that kind of gives you some benefits. If I had those rules enabled, I really don't. Just because that would make things a little ridiculous, but that's a 70-ton mech. Pretty darn solid mech, and the nice thing about this thing also is, you may have noticed in the weapons loadout, this is also something not in the PC game, rear-mounted weaponry. Yes, that's right, so if something gets behind me, I can spear it with 2 medium lasers that are rear-mounted in the center torso. Pretty handy to have, especially when you start talking about the future of BattleTech and, yeah, elementals, shall we say. It is my Mech Warrior's turn to go, so I'm going to move him up and forward. I'm dropping him in to see if maybe I can get that Mech Warrior off the board or get him picked up. You can't do anything from your location there, my friend. You are in a position to potentially stopgap that archer. And what I'm thinking about is try to draw them back into the trebuchet's line of fire, or somehow spot for them, but that's a tall order. Who's moving here? The archer is up and moving. He's just going to move right up and get in his face. Centurion is turning and staying put for that AC-20 shot. The Jenner is going to also move into a position to better engage. And the Mech Warrior cannot do anything. You cannot do anything technically. Yet, at least. Short range. I'm going toe-to-toe with something that I should not be going toe-to-toe with. So it'll be interesting to see how this turns out. Shots for the archer. The best shot is probably that AC-20 firing thing up on the roof, because he's not moved for much of a modifier. I am going to fire those and the LRM-20s. That is a nasty amount of heat that I'm about to put out on this mech, but it might be worth it. AC-20 and an LRM-10 because it's a decent hit shot, and lasers off of the Jenner, of course. Alright, let's see what happens with an Alpha Strike from 3 mediums onto a, well, almost Alpha Strike. I'm not firing a lot of the LRMs. But let's just see what happens here. Wow, look at that. A lucky crit roll right off the bat into the center torso, knocking out one of the rear-mounted medium lasers. Oh, it's a lucky crit, but an unlucky one. We've gone, the archer has returned fire, internal on the Centurion's left arm, which I'm not worried about. The LRMs both fire and whiff. The AC-20, look at that, 20 points damage to the left leg. He's got 1 point of armor remaining on that. Yeah. But yeah, in Lazy Monkey, the, I mean, to some extent, what you might be able to do is look up the introductory rules, because they do have those freely available on the BattleTech website, and they're enough to kind of get you familiar with where the game is currently. I mean, when I say there's a lot different between Total Warfare and the BattleTech Master Rules, and you know, there's just a lot of things that they've tweaked that they've added kind of new features to the rule set, and at the core of it, it's still the same thing. And even from the BMR BMR revised to, I believe it can really kind of go back 2 more rule sets. It's still more or less the same. So underlying things like movement haven't really changed too much. Line of sight's got some optional rules that you can have now. You know, weapons fire is still more or less the same. The RPG integrations, it's obviously different because we've gone from MechWarrior 2 to MechWarrior 3 to I forget what the heck they call it now. I honestly forget what they call their RPG now because they've rebranded it again, if I remember right. It's not MechWarrior anymore. But yeah, it does certainly take a while to get used to it. Oh, remember I was saying about that special rule? So 20 points of damage to the left leg, and then the LRM-10 fires in, and it does some more damage to the left leg, and for his crit hit on the leg, he rolled a 12. The archer's limb just got blown off. That leg just went flying off. You see this archer striding onto the battlefield, and just you can kind of almost imagine a mech commander reaction from all the mechs there, just kind of carrying back a little because they're battle scarred. They have taken a hell of a beating for most of them at the hands of the enemy. The Jenner has just had a really bad time of even just trying to stay upright. And here strides this unblemished war monster in front of them. Pops open its LRM bays, is showering with LRMs. And then you see the Centurion suddenly stride up, thrust its right arm towards the archer. The plume of fire coming out of that AC-20 streaks across the battlefield, and you just see the shower of arcs explode from the hip joint as the actuator just gets absolutely shredded. And for a second, it looks like the archer is going to keep coming on, and then it kind of shifts its weight a little bit, and the whole upper torso sort of groaningly separates from the leg, and the leg just kind of sits there, still pristine from the kneecap down, as a monument to this mech which is about to fall flat on its face. Ouch! That's XCOM for you there. So the archer is definitely taking some bad damage. The archer's got a destroyed leg. He's not staying up. It's very unlikely he will, so because the leg destroyed, it's automatic fall on the leg. So he goes down, he fails, takes a hit, but he's still conscious. Barely. Dice were not nice to this guy at all. So he is now effectively prone, but not immobile, and is now a punching bag for everyone else. You're not going to kick. The problem is it's a fully intact archer, and remember he's got the rear arc weaponry, so I can't really get behind him without taking some damage either. That's how quickly the game can turn. Oh yeah, you can go ham with the descriptions and everything. I would have a hard time trying to keep it up, constantly, but it's more because I kind of approach the tabletop almost as an extension of the role-playing game, and the role-playing game just kind of allows you to really kind of, for a lot of the out-of-combat stuff, you've got plenty of role-playing that you're going through, and it just kind of extends naturally into tabletop. Well, the trench bucket is stuck in a trench. The hunchback can't really do anything. He's safe where he is. The Centurion's actually perfectly safe where it is. We're going to move in with the Mech Warrior. The Jenner's got jump. Oh, that's right. The Jenner does have jump jets. It's not in depth 2 water. You can't jump. You cannot jump out of depth 2 water. It's actually safe to go over here because rear arc is the hex directly behind, and then the diagonal's based off of that. So we'll get some extra kicks in, and you'll stay there, and we'll try to get the archer up. It's unlikely with that leg that it'll happen. It clearly did not happen. Yeah, this is now a turkey shoot. It's because you're overheated, and I want to drop some LRMs finally. Let's fire up one medium laser, and that will keep the heat neutral. I'm not really worried about a rapid rate of fire here. But the biggest trick to trying to stream this, unfortunately, is I don't know if I have a way of being able to do a campaign through MekHQ and still allow multiple people to play the different, take on the different units. So what it might have to turn into would be me running the running it similar to this, where I would have the stream showing the combat map, and everyone would be on like a voice chat channel, and whoever's turn, whoever wants to, that way the player side could kind of communicate and do tactics and everything, decide, okay, well, do I want to have so-and-so go first, or do I want to just, do we want to, how do we want to approach this, and then to be able to say to the player, okay, whoever's up, tell me how you want to move your mech, and then I can move it on, the map for them. The problem with that is the stream delay. So it would have to be a voice channel. It wouldn't have to be something where I could do this and just run it through regular game chat. That would be a bit too difficult, I suspect. And medium lasers for you, and the God, look at that, one leg off, and he is in bad shape. I'm gonna go ahead and actually let me show you what's going on here with the archer when I do this. So he is prone. So what's going to happen is if I fire the left arm laser at the Centurion, you notice it says the right arm saying I'm prone and firing from the other arm already. So the right arm is being used to prop me up, while the left arm fires and the LRMs fire. But yeah, that's crappy chances on those, but you know what? I will happily take them. And the medium laser should have nobody in its arc, I believe. Confirmed, yep. Alright, so what we got going on here? The good news is for anything going after that archer, that right leg is now transferring to the right torso, so damage just got quite a bit easier to hit that. Oh, look at that right there. We even got a roaming crit to the center torso. That was a lucky shot that did nothing. More hits to the center torso, so the gyro gets spalled. It's making an ominous noise. It's clearly on the edge of failure. Medium laser with the archer just took out the shoulder and hands, so he's not propping. Yep, he's definitely not propping with the left arm anymore. That arm has been destroyed. We're internal on the center torso already too, by the way. That's pretty darn good. Wow. And all we took was 5 damage to the Centurion's center torso, so it's still up on the building, perfectly intact. And he's about to get wailed on. That's a 10-point kick. That is a 7-point kick. Critted into the left torso, but nothing damaged there, so we're internal on that. That's how fast you can take down a. This is the lion taking down the gazelle, but like reversed almost. Not really worried about moving all that much, because there's really not much point to some of these units moving now. They're better off staying close in for the kick. I could. Nope, I can't, because I've overheated that mech. He's got just enough heat that he's lost the ability to even turn at this point. He can't even get up. A down mech I could still technically relocate by 1 hex side per turn, because he's still got 1 movement point, even though he's not on his feet. Hold steady there, hold steady there. Especially because I know you do not have to worry about trying to... You basically can't... He only has LRMs left to fire at this point. He can't fire because the medium lasers in the arm he's going to be propping up with. Yeah, just keep lobbing stuff at him. LRMs, sure. The more the merrier. Prop to fire on the Centurion. Not do it. Prone with 1 or both arms destroyed. Oh, that's interesting. You should be letting me prop to fire with the torso weapons. But you are very clearly not going to let me do that. Okay, so he's effectively useless. Hang on, let me find an option here. See if I can change something locally. Game options. What I'm looking for is the ability to... Looking for a surrender option, because frankly at this point, that dismounted mech warrior would be more or less giving up. Enemy, emergency equipment, schools. You can see I can't change most of this stuff in-game, but I can technically password protect too. I should be allowed to actually change some of it, but nope, it's not gonna let me do that. Okay. We'll have to do this the hard way then. AC-28-2, the... It's just overkill at this point. Okay, let's see what we got here. Left torsos. Well, there's the... Okay, so we... Right torso with the medium laser. Left torso with the medium laser. Internal structure, we just knocked out an LRM-20. The left torso has now been destroyed. Transferring to center to core the gyro end engine. And there's the center torso with the rest of it on the AC-20. From the arm to the torso, to the center torso, and back out again, gone. So that mech just disintegrated this time, this particular turn. And let's see, don't want to do a physical. Are you actually on the board here? Okay, no, he's in the hex I'm in, which is why it's presenting that, I believe. Where's my next stomp? Don't have that because I'm up and standing, so I can't actually... That. Yep, I don't want to attack the building. Okay, so that was a surprising outcome on that. Not too bad for the for that unit either. I want the option to surrender. I really do not want to have to do this to the mech warrior, but you have given me no choice. Walk to there. Walk to there. Turn. This is not something that would be considered acceptable practice. Because this is a prisoner of war. Not ideal at all, but for the purposes of ending the game, 2 medium lasers should really do the trick. There we go. Okay, the mech warrior's down. Okay, so that is where the battle ends, and the great thing about this is there's no physical... I'm not attacking the buildings, you stupid game. Okay, so we have achieved our victory, which is not bad. I mean, all things considered, even with the edge I gave them, they should have been... They were pretty badly outnumbered, and especially being down a mech, they're still pretty good. Oh god, urban mechs versus fire fleas? The fire fleas will tear apart the urban mechs. Urban mechs don't have enough to... They can't move enough for anything, so the only place they're really valid is in a city. And even then, they can't jump on top of buildings because they don't have enough jump power to clear any buildings more than 3 elevation levels tall. Oh. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and save to... This is a nice thing. I can save the results of this battle, so I can always go back and look at it later. And what I'm gonna do is... That one telling me it was done, or that one telling me it was done? I should be able to disconnect. Well, let me quit that. And you're just deigning to tell me that... Yeah, here's what the salvage looks like, actually. So, you know, there's my 4 mechs that survived. Here's the graveyard, basically, which is their term for everything that survived the battle. The following units were utterly destroyed units are not available for salvage. So yeah, you get nothing from this mech. That was an SRM-2 explosion. So I should be able to click OK, and now it's kicked me. I'm leaving MegaMek, and now I'm going back into MekHQ. So it's asking me, did my side control the battlefield at the end of the scenario? For the purposes of this scenario, I'm actually going to say yes. And what you can see is this is going to give me, in accordance to my contract, what options I have for, for my forces, because I basically said, I have total losses will be removed from the hangar. I can manually add the damage suffered to each unit, and that's primarily because I'm in GM mode. So it's giving me the option to, say someone wanted to edge back something or some other way from the RPG side, or maybe there's some story element that, okay, there's some local techs in the area that came out and gave us a hand briefly to kind of keep us going. Don't have to worry about that there. So pilot status, everyone is still alive. Two of my people did take 2 head hits, so they're going to be in the infirmary for a little while. Following battlefield has been identified, and I've basically given myself a pretty generous salvage campaign here. That archer is most definitely going to be part of my salvage. And I can also note, for example, maybe there are units that fled the board. And in some cases, they might be considered to be part of the salvage if they're captured later, or, they, off camera, we ran them down essentially. But I can say, no, they escaped. What else would I want out of this? I'd want that Whitworth. That's pretty good. So I'm up to, basically my way I've calculated my salvage here means that I can't go too far above my percentage here. So that's pretty much it. And the nice thing is it also gives the option to view the unit, so I can see what the record sheet essentially looked like. So I know it's down in LRM-20. It's medium lasers that I have to replace or do some work on. Got some ammo that I'd be getting out of that. Not too bad. So we'll go next on that. Everything else is getting sent to my employer. We did technically capture that mech warrior somehow. Don't know why. I'm not going to say captured. I would say we turned her over to Mio. Because she is a prisoner of war. We would not hang on to her. Assigned to kills. So if, someone wants to argue or dispute the fact that, oh, I got the kill, no, I got the kill, I got the kill, I can choose who actually gets assigned the kill. This goes into the record for the unit, actually. So it's going to, when we go in and actually look at everything going on, we're going to see that, oh, mech warrior so-and-so killed such and such as part of their service record, which is really sweet. Especially for doing things like character bios and everything, if you're kind of staging things by, running a few missions here and there. So we salvaged, we've got all of our units back, we recovered all of our people, we picked up 2 mechs as a result, and this was a, I can't even say like maybe it was a marginal victory, that because they didn't defeat everything too quickly, they weren't able to assist with the rest of the invasion of the city, but no, that was a decided victory. We are back. MegaMek has said, okay, yep, you're done. And quietly goes away. Note that now I have a victory assigned to this thing. So I can even go in. Here's the rather neat thing about this. I can go into admonition. And admonition, I can edit that, and I can throw in an after-action report. So I can do a write-up for, for the other players, and I can hand this file out to them. So they've got like an actual, it's almost like a source book, really, when you get down to this. So, I could do something. And that becomes part of my after-action report. Not a very good one, but that's kind of the fun stuff you can do. And now when I go into the hangar, I've got everything damaged to the state it was when we left that game. So I've got the archer in here that's missing the leg. It's been blown off. And I can salvage that and reattach that leg, actually. I've got the trebuchet, which had its gyro core. You'll see it right there, gyro 2 hits, engine 2 hits. So I can go ahead and I can fix that sort of thing. This is a lot of stuff that's kind of sitting out in the inside the brain. Thinking of this, it's out in the rule set, but not a lot of people choose to do this because it's so annoying to have to track all this stuff. So You are indicating that you're salvage. No, no. No, no, no. You're not salvage. I want to change your state. Why are you saying salvage? I don't want you as salvage. You're both repairs. Let me change. Transport, bay, factory. Maybe because I can't actually, because I don't have parts for it? This is a little different. They've changed this screen up a bit. Not by much, but they've changed just enough. I'm kind of sitting here saying, how did they make this work? And I think it's probably because I'm missing parts in the warehouse here. So let's just go into armor. And come on, really? Purchase parts. Let's get some armor. I'm gonna use GM mode here and add some basic stuff in here that any typical mercenary unit would probably have on hand. 5. Decent split on those weapons. AC. Oh, that's right, because I got the selector set to armor outside here. I was worrying there for a second why stuff wasn't showing up. Annoyingly, they've got weapons that don't technically exist for this time frame showing right now. Like rocket launchers do not exist technically in this era. That is a 30-60-ish periphery weapon, actually. Holy moly, they even went down to the individual makers of the laser rifle since I last saw this. Ooh. Wow. They have gone all out on updating this thing. Equipment. No, actually. Ammunition. Each. Basically, I'm buying this by the ammo bin. That's why I don't throw a lot of SRM2 ammo. That was 50 rounds of SRM2 ammo that went off in that one mech earlier. That's why it's not a pretty thing to see that blow. That is absolutely nightmare territory to be in. Speaking quite okay, I keep getting the music volume up, and then you tell me the music's not playing when I'm talking, but then I start talking, and now the music's not loud enough, or the music's overruling me. Okay. Anyway, we're just going to drop the music there. That will rule that problem out completely. Plus also to help, I'm talking away from the mic a little bit here. Back to all parts, and see if that's going to let me... Don't want to mass salvage. That is a perfectly repairable mech. Parts acquisition 2 missing. Okay, let's do acquire the ammo instantly. And into an order. Okay, that's odd. I believe there's supposed to be a toggle on here that I'm supposed to be able to trigger to say whether I want to salvage it or if I want to repair it. Maybe I'm thinking because it's in the might be in the hangar I have to do this. Repair status. Why are you not letting me switch off that? Huh. Well, isn't that odd? Some green text. Let's assign one to it, and will that let me swap it? Well, that is rather annoying. Both of those should be salvaged. Where's the other guy here? The archer has the Whitworth. I changed your status. You're salvage also. What the ever-loving heck? Huh. All right, let's move you into a field workshop. Maybe that's why you're not letting me do it. Nope, not letting me do that at all. Assign detect to you. Field workshop. So you should be restorable at this point. This facility, will you let me salvage from there? Don't want to salvage. The reason why I'm kind of confused is because if I go over to here to like a trebuchet, you'll see I'm seeing the options to repair. And I could technically say I want to salvage that instead, and I'm not getting the option for it. But just kind of move along here while I'm dealing with my mass confusion. I need to do some repair work, and apparently I don't have any techs available, which is odd because I most certainly do. They're all sitting right here. Wow, either they've really changed something or I've completely ballsed up on making this campaign. What I should do is load one of the campaigns that I took later on after well after that spreadsheet was developed that I showed at the start of the stream. But normally I'd be able to select an option here, pick a tech from the pool, and I have 25 minutes. Okay, this guy's got 400 minutes to repair, and I would take care from that. Maybe I have to advance a day pretty much. Let's try. 10 units, fine. Yes. Because they are perfectly fine. There we go. That's what's wrong. Okay. Now I might be able to switch this over. The hangar on the archer. Still won't let me switch it, but you'll let me repair it now. Well, let me repair other things now. Huh. Interesting. Alright, but yeah, I can take my green mech tech and I can say, do that task. And, okay, you've got X number of minutes left, and I've got a center torso failed, and I don't have anyone more skilled who can take on that particular repair right now. So, do that. Do that. Keep going. Fix the armor. Come on. There we go. Fix. So, it's taking additional time for each failure that I've got going on here to do this repair. Armor supplies lost. Ugh. Good. Stop wasting my parts. I suspect they changed the repair rules in Total Warfare 2. Because, boy, this is... it's a little different. On the BMR, it would be the case of if I fail an initial roll, then I need someone higher. So green would have to... If a green screws up, a regular would have to do it. If a regular screws up, then a veteran would have to do it. And if a veteran screws up, then an elite has to do it. And if an elite can't repair it, then you're screwed. But it looks like they gave you the chance to actually keep trying until you're actually done. Time, finish tomorrow. But you kind of get the idea there of what we've got going on pretty much. It still irks me that I've got a mech that I picked perfectly here that is only needs a leg to be replaced. Oh, wait a minute. What am I saying? No, we didn't pop the leg on it. Yeah. Never mind. The game is correct. I am being an absolute idiot. Center torso is destroyed, so it's not recoverable. Unlike a PC game mech, which, you destroyed the center torso? Yeah, you still get 2 out of 3 salvage off of it. Well, kind of. I mean, I can salvage, like, the head, the armor off of it. I've got, the right arm. It's not going to be useful, but I can get quite a bit of stuff off of the mech here. Stripping it down for sensors, the life support system, the actuators. All of that can be reused on other mechs. So that's kind of what we get out of that. And then we do also have, for instance, here we go. This is new. They've added random injury reports here now. Returned from combat with the following new injuries. He's gotten a broken rib. He was in the trebuchet. That's understandable. Let me switch this over to Mech Warrior so it'll be a bit easier to see. So he's wounded at this point. Perfectly fine. Here's a kill record for them. So took down the Clint and the Mech Warrior at the end. That was kill record. Got all of them basically except one. With that mech, did not take injury at all. Some cuts on her chest, bruise on her right leg, and the healing reports, and also the infirmary. So we can assign. So we can assign our mech warriors to get healed up there, advance a day, and we'll see. Yeah, fine. Just advance a day. If you don't maintain the units, they're going to eventually potentially start falling apart. You can see some of the injuries have repaired there. The broken ribs will take a little while longer. But not bad, actually, all things considered. And we've got our parts warehouse. We've got the hangar. We've got the personnel, so we can see who we've got in the unit, and it includes everything. You want to know the medical staff that you've got? Bada bing, bada boom. You want to know what you've got for people who have been killed in action? You can pull up that list. The personnel who were listed as missing in action. So if you want to bring them back later as brainwashed warriors in the side of the enemy, go for it. Lots of little stuff. And then, of course, you've got the map in here. And this map is real time. As near as I can tell, it's real time. So what I can do is, let's go ahead and I'm going to go GM Jules dialogue here. Doesn't have what I'm thinking of. I want to advance multiple days, and we are going to, for the sake of testing, I believe I can go 90 days or advance to the next month. And yes, I don't care. Yes. You're going to ask me this every single time here. So we've gotten through, and enemy morale is now low. That's a new one. I didn't know the enemy has morale now. Oh. I wonder if that's because the... I'm wondering if they're keeping track of the actual in-game events here. Because you have to keep in mind, like I said, this is during the Fourth Succession War, and you can see that there's some definite movement going on here, where Tikonov is basically cut off. You can see that the Fed Sons are starting to advance on some of these worlds over here, and if I pull up the actual, this is from the Fourth Succession War Military Atlas that actually describes it kind of gives you a basic overview of what the fight was like that we went through here. And the low morale, I'm wondering if it's indicative of what's going on during the invasion, because it's got all the different attacks that took place on the various planets and everything. So during the war, so that was the second wave. There's the third wave. When did that kick off? That was 4 worlds. When did they land or institute drops? Ah, there we go. Officially on November 12th. So if I go back to the campaign here and do another advance multiple days, I'm in October. Yes, I wish to. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, 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 yes. I would normally not, one minor, yeah, I've got to figure out how they're doing the campaign rules here. It's probably because I set this up to run off the latest rule set. I didn't actually tell it to back rev to the BMR or the old, the mercenary, the field manual mercenary rules unrevised. Failed to be contracts, yada, yada, yada. Personal armor. See, apparently I managed to pick up a vehicle at some point too, which I kind of find a little funny. I don't know how I came across that, but apparently it was one of the random events here. And so now we are on November 1st, which we should see on the map. What was one of the planets that they were going after here? Ronald, Tybalt, Slocum, and New Canton. So those would be Ronel, Tybalt, Slocum. Actually, there you go. You can see the thrust out to New Aragon has succeeded there technically. Tikonov hasn't been pacified yet, which is why it's not showing up as flipping at this point. But New Aragon, you can see, has fallen to the Federated Sons. So if you're looking to play around with a campaign that exists within the legit time frame, you can use this to do that, and you've got everything you need to kind of to see what's going on in the universe at the same time. Like over here on the Draconis Combine front, we've got no, actually that looks normal. Bellator 3, I can't remember if they took that early in the battle or not. You can see some of the gains happening over in Lyran's space here, so you know, the Combine is certainly doing its bit to take things on, but yeah, not much happening. And yeah, that's kind of it. So that's kind of a top level, you know, real top level overview of MegaMek. I know I'm not brushing against half of what this system can do. For instance, if I were to anything with that, because I'm in a campaign. Apparently, I can't start a new campaign from a campaign. So let me relaunch. Back up there. You're not going to let me do it. Okay, so I have to drag you to sit there, start a new campaign. So let's say I want to start something around, yeah, 3067, sure. You know, it's not going to cause any problems at all for starting it there. Could you actually let me find? There we go. First, okay. So when I started up, I was actually using the official 8 against the bot settings. But what I would probably do is go over to Total Warfare line of rule books and for rules outside the scope, or you know, there's different things. You don't have to play according to the BattleTech rules. You can play according to other things. There's a preset for a MechWarrior 2-ish kind of setup, so if you're old school, you can play that way. If I went for that, I could also go for just kind of show you some of the options you got. You don't have to do mercenary. You can play as any faction. So the great thing is it'll kind of let you set up so that you can be FedCom and have all of the all the stuff. The kind of era rules that you want to work with. So if you want to work with the specific stuff, you can do tech limiting. You can play around with experimental max tech. So if you want to bring in the max text rules, you certainly can. We'll happily let you do that. You can see in this case, I'm not really being integrated with the old MechWarrior RPG stuff, finances, and the kind of the value of used parts and everything. They've got the part ranking in here, which that makes it really hard to do a lot of the older rule set stuff. The different 2 options you have for your payment. I mean, just options everywhere in here. And name and portrait generation. I haven't gotten there's a random portrait generator, and I haven't gotten to work. I know there's a specific extra zip I have to add into the game to make that work properly, but it can do that. You can pick the ranking system you want. So if you want to go with one specific setup or another, you certainly can, and it'll apply it to the game you've got. You've got just all sorts of stuff, and even if you're talking like a clan campaign, you can really get to this kind of you can dig down to that pretty deeply too. So you've got the ability to handle Trueborn and Freeborn, you know, sort of characters. You've got the ability to randomize blood names. So if you have a certain number of troops that you want to have with blood names that you're just setting up the game, you can do that. All sorts of really sweet stuff that they have put in here. So that's MekHQ. That's kind of MegaMek at a top level, and hope you guys have enjoyed. We will probably be back with BattleTech, the PC game, next week, and what I would like to do is start playing around a little bit with the Mech Lab and the skirmish system, because I obviously was playing skirmish with the beta way back in the day, because that's all that there was in the game. So I'm going to kind of give you guys an idea of what has changed there in the PC game experience. And then after that, we'll probably start trying to see if I can do some multiplayer action here. So if anyone is interested and happens to have a copy of Mech Warrior, uh, I may be looking to potentially do some Mech Warrior, some BattleTech multiplayer madness on Mondays, and would certainly welcome the opportunity if you don't mind. Can have you join a voice channel over on the Armco Discord and kind of play out things over there, because I would certainly like to actually see the game from a multiplayer perspective, and also get a chance to play with you guys, the community too, because I'd rather play with you guys than necessarily complete strangers. So that way, at least if I get my ass kicked, at least I'm gonna have some friendly ribbing about it going on in the channel. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Remember to smack the like button if you liked. The dislike button is right next door, and I highly encourage you to do it. But if you do hit the dislike, please leave a comment. Let me know where I can make changes and improvement. Obviously, the music is one thing I have to figure out. The phone system I'm using right now for this just is not going to work because the volume is a little too variable, especially with the AC on in the room. And unfortunately, I'm fighting to either talk over the music or the music is talking over me. Take your pick. It's very hard. I may need to go through and pick some better tracks at the very least for streaming. And hit the subscribe button. Would love to have you guys watching on a regular basis. The start time for the streams in the future is probably going to be 6 o'clock Eastern. I'm pushing that out a little bit just because the 5:30 time and 5:45 times I was usually trying to start at was a little kind of pushing it for me with getting back from work in time and still being able to grab something to eat before the stream. So my apologies if that kind of throws anyone off for watching, but there is always the VODs. And you guys enjoyed, and I will catch you next time. Take care.